Okay, Israel. Shalom, shalom, shalom. I hope everybody's doing well this Monday evening. Shout out Sword of Truth family, Kawakab in Guatemala, his students that are in California, Georgia, and all the different cities across the states. Shout out from Stream of Wisdom, Houston, Quatazap, Virginia, Kazakia, Rochester, New York, Zion. Hope everybody's doing well. Everyone in those camps and schools keep the fight, and respect and love to everybody in different camps that are fighting their battle and committing their works to the Heavenly Father. Today, we're going to go into Matthew chapter 25. We're going to go into the story about the talents. But there is if you guys tuned in to Sabbath class a few weeks ago, we briefly talked about the talents. And it was brought out in a way that there's a little bit more to that topic than we normally go over. And I thought it was necessary that we took the time to go through the entire chapter versus just sitting back here and lightly glossing over the concept. This topic about the talents specifically deals with our battles that we face now. And that's why I think it's imperative to go into the details of it. What we're going to do, let's start off Matthew 25, verse 14 through 30. Matthew 25, verse 14 through 30.
Matthew chapter 25 and verse 14. For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country.
Okay, so listen. Now listen, we're talking about the kingdom of heaven, and to be specifically, how to enter the kingdom of heaven. And Christ is giving the parallel on how to enter and the process that it takes to enter the kingdom of heaven in comparison to this parable about this man traveling into a far country. Okay? So read verse 14 again from the top.
God, Matthew 25 and 14. For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country.
Now, if you think about back in the days where there's horses and carriages and buggies, when a man goes to a far country, what does that represent? This man's going to be what? Absent and gone for an extended period of time. This man that owns his property, that has his servants on his property, is going to be gone for an indefinite amount of time. And I want to make sure we keep this in consciousness as we continue through the breakdown. So this man's going to be indefinitely gone. Read on.
Who called his own servants.
Who called his own servants, who were responsible for whatsoever work was to be done on his property. Okay? Let's keep going.
And delivered unto them his goods.
Now listen, he says, this man who's going to this far country delivered unto these servants his goods. Now it's important to kind of explain what these goods are, and I don't want to rush through this breakdown. We got to find out, what is this good man's goods? What are the goods that he is bequeathing or giving or temporarily loaning or giving responsibility to look over? What are these goods? First verse we're going to go into is 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19 and 20. We want to kind of go into what Christ and what the Most High's goods are. What are his goods? Because we know that this man is leaving is talking about Christ. So, 1 Corinthians 6 and 19.
Come. 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 19 reads, What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit which is in you, which ye have of the Most High, and ye are not your own, for ye are bought with a price.
So listen, we were bought by Christ when he died for us, right? So now that means we are his goods. We are his property. We are indebted, and we owe him our life. So it is not about our choice and our free will. It's about pleasing our Savior's desires and expectations of us, right? Somebody quickly give me the definition of goods in 1828.
Goods in the 1828.
Let me get it too. We're going to do some definition work, but I promise you the definition work really matters. Give me the first definition.
Goods with an S or without?
Goods with an S.
Okay.
Number 1, personal or movable estate.
Mm-hmm.
As horses, cattle, utensils.
That's it. So, goods, another word or another explanation for goods are cattle, flock, things of that nature. Right?
Okay.
So, we're going to let 1 Corinthians 6 and 19 and 20 go. We're going to jump to Ezekiel chapter 34, verse 31. Ezekiel 34, verse 31.
Ezekiel chapter 34.
Now, as you're looking for that,
Oh, I got it.
I know, real quick, where it says, this man is leaving for a far country, he delivered unto his servants his goods. Okay? Now we know Christ, like I said, Christ is the person that's leaving for this period of time. But these goods were delivered unto these servants. Now, what are these goods? The definition said goods were cattle, flocks, so forth and so on, right?
Oh.
Let's read Ezekiel 34:31.
Ezekiel chapter 34, verse 31. And ye, my flock, the flock of my pastor are men.
The flock of the Most High's pasture are the men, are the students, are the children of Israel, that these servants are being called to be responsible for when he leaves. Does that make sense? If we're looking at it from the lens of Christ, his goods are his people. His goods are his flock. Okay? The flock of the Most High's pasture are the men, are the children of Israel. Let's bring a little bit more clarity to this and go to Matthew chapter 15 and 24.
Oh.
Matthew 15 and verse 24.
Mm-hmm.
But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
So the Most High throughout the scriptures constantly refers to Israelites, to his people, as his flock, as his cattle, as his sheep. So indirectly, we are his goods. Okay? So now these servants had the responsibility of managing the children of Israel, the flocks and the goods that were left for them to maintain while this man left for a long period of time. One more verse on flocks and goods. Zechariah chapter 10 verse 3. Zechariah chapter 10 and verse 3.
Snake.
Mm-hmm.
Zechariah chapter 10, verse 3.
I need some spirit.
God. It reads, Mine anger was kindled against the shepherds, and I pushed the goats.
I punished.
Mine anger was kindled against the shepherds, and I punished the goats. For the Lord of hosts hath visited his flock, the house of Judah.
So once again, the Lord of hosts has visited his flock, his sheep, his goods. Read on.
And hath made them as his goodly horse in the battle.
So the children of Israel were referred to and compared as his goodly horse. What we just read, the definition of goods is personal or movable estate as horses and cattle and utensils and etc. and etc. and etc. I'm taking my time to explain that this man that's leaving for this period of time, traveling to a far country, left his children and his people and his nation to be attended to until he comes back. Doesn't that tie into what really happened when Christ died?
Yeah.
There was a long period of time that had to go in between before he comes back and reckons what deals with what happens to the flock and how the flock was treated. Just keep that in mind. So now we're going to go back to Matthew 25 in verse 15.
Matthew chapter 25 and verse 15.
We're going to sit back and we're going to still take this time. Get your phones ready. I want you guys to log on to YouTube in class when you get a chance, because I want you guys to see what we're about to put up here for y'all. Read verse 15, Matthew 25 and 15.
Matthew 25 and 15. And unto one he gave 5 talents.
So listen, the Most High gave one man 5 talents. Read on.
To another 2.
He gave another person 2 talents. Read on.
And to another 1.
What we have to do first, before we go into further explaining what we're supposed to do with these talents, we have to kind of explain what the talents were. Let's go online. We're going to sit back here and take a look at what these talents were. Yeah, I know there's a delay, so that's why it's probably not showing yet. It'll show in a second. It's important that we explain and take our time to explain what these talents are, so we have a better understanding of what the talents are. Because the way it was taught and explained was that these talents were gifts, and they are gifts, but it's based upon how you handle your talents. And the title of this class was Embracing the Most High's Talents. But if you look on YouTube and look at what a damn talent is, your thinking will start changing about what talents are. Have y'all gotten on that yet?
Yeah, it's up there.
Looks like a big ass. It looks like something you want to dolly. Am I right or wrong? When you want to see something like this, you want to sit back and pick this up with your hands.
Yeah, 2-man strap that one.
You got 2-man it out. You got 2-man this thing. You want a 4-wheel. You want to 4-wheel this thing out. You want a 2-man strap this. You don't want to touch this smoke out.
Nah,
Do you really?
That's a boulder.
Thank you. Thank you. It is a boulder.
that was like the wheel to
Like Barney Rubble in their mind. That's what I'm saying. Fred Flintstone's car wheel. Kinda. That's what it does look like. But these are what talents were. And talents was a universal weight of measure that you were used to measure out gold and materials and other items. But the talent itself was the form of measurement used to determine all the other weights that you have in your kingdom. So what the Lord did before he left, he gave everybody a different amount of burdens. That's what the talents were.
Yeah.
The talents were responsibilities and burdens that each man that was a servant of the Lord had to carry. How many of us are constantly asking, why is my life the way it is? Why am I suffering as much as I'm suffering? Why is life so challenging, stressful, and difficult? Half the reasons we don't accept that when you made a decision to serve the Lord, you also made a decision to carry your burden on in regards to dealing with his people.
Yeah.
This is why one of the constant battles we all face is that desire to live your own life and do you. And find your freedom and find your peace and find your truth. But when you sit back here, and if you are a servant of the Lord, you're on his land, working for him, working the burdens and carrying the burdens that he has set out for you. Some men, now listen, when you sit back and go into the history of the talents or the weight of the talent ranged from 75 to 100 pounds each. So if you were a 5-talent guy, you had to carry on your back 500 pounds. That was the level of responsibility that individual had. Now the Lord said, listen, this person, he can handle 2 talents. He can handle 200 pounds of additional responsibility for my people. And this person can handle 100 pounds of responsibility for my people. And everybody that decides they want to serve the Most High and the Lord has to accept, women included, have to accept you got to carry. The Lord expects each and every one of us to carry multiple 100 pounds worth of burdens and responsibility. The responsibilities of others. We just read about what the goods were. The goods were talking about our people and the needs of our people.
On the pools right here, it says
Not yet.
Well,
Not yet.
It's in your definition. It's perfect with your definition. It says from the Greek talentos, which means bearing or suffering.
Mm-hmm.
It says
Greek talentos, like
yeah,
talent.
from talentos.
So the definition of talent.
So that we're not pushing
So the
this
definition
our
of
idea
talent.
of talent. This is what the word says.
That's what I'm saying. So you're saying the word talent in
Yeah.
Greek.
It's talentos.
Okay.
Talentos is bearing or suffering.
Got it.
To bear or to carry.
Got it.
It also says, from the word Latin word tolere, which means to bear or support.
And
To endure.
Yes, the Lord is giving us responsibilities and burdens that each and every one of us have to bear on our shoulders if we choose to follow Christ.
Come.
A lot of times it's not explained this way, but when you dig, you start realizing, damn, man, the Lord expects a lot from us, but he's still conscious enough to give everybody different levels of burdens that we have to take on our shoulders, that we have to own and accept in our walk to serving the Heavenly Father. And just a brief foreshadowing, these burdens ain't got nothing to do with your flesh. And you have all this lust and doubt. That ain't got nothing to do with this work.
That's not a talent.
Listen, you ain't supposed to bring your lust and your problems to the job site. If you in the work and you sit back here and be crying about your marital problems at the job, hey, like take that shit back home. You got a job to do. Am I right or wrong? So when you go to work, your mind has to be on the work. And in our situation, our work is the service of the men and the service of the body and the flock. That's what the job is. So this talent or these burdens have nothing to do with your flesh burden. And now we're starting to realize why our walk in the truth gets so difficult. Because we're carrying 500 pounds for the Lord and 1,000 of your flesh. Am I right or wrong? Oh, this is unbearable. This is too much. Because it's not just your burden. It's not just your burdens and crap that you're dealing with you. It's the Lord's burden that he expects all of us to carry because we chose to serve the Heavenly Father. Okay. So, read verse 15 again from the top.
Matthew chapter 25 and verse 15.
Is everybody clear on what this burden is? This humongous boulder
So it's not
or boulders that each one of us, women and men, have to endure and embrace if we choose to serve the Lord. Yes.
So it's not that concept that we have from church. Of, I'm playing the piano for the Lord. I'm talented the piano. I can praise dance.
Exactly.
I can stand in this corner. I can usher you inside the building. That's one of my talents. One of my talents is playing piano. I can also sing very well.
Yes.
I am a good singer. I have 3 to 4 talents in the Lord.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with that.
This is about carrying burdens. And we're going. It's good, and it creates more clarity as we go into class. We're going to go into what's expected for us, how we're supposed to operate with these burdens, and what we're supposed to do with the burdens that are being presented and pressed on us. So, let's continue. Read verse 15 from the top.
Matthew 25 and 15. And unto one he gave 5 talents.
So one person was given 500 pounds worth of burdens. Read on.
To another 2.
Another person was given 200 pounds worth of responsibility directly related to the flock. Directly related to the needs of the flock.
Not his life.
Now, if we're going to go technical, the flock, the cattle, the sheep, the horses, so forth and so on. Because that's what the work is in a physical level. But we're going to go spiritual. That 500 pounds is worth of responsibilities that you have to keep houses in order. Brothers' minds clear. You got to be an example for your people. You got to be able to teach, counsel. That's the burden on each and every one of our shoulders that the Lord ordained us to tap into. Right? Okay, let's continue.
And to another 1. To every man according to the several abilities.
So he says the Most High gives burdens by the 100 based upon a person's several ability. Now listen, let's go on the definition of ability in 1828. And it is going to be definition number 1. So he's given us responsibility and burdens based on what?
Ability, physical power, whether bodily or mental.
So he's giving you responsibility based on how much you can mentally and physically take. And this is why it ranges from 5 talents or 500 pounds to 200 pounds to 100 pounds. Each and every one of us have to carry a burden, a certain level of physical and mental pressure and responsibility for the body's sake. Now, depending on how much more you can take, you get put under more things. This is why you can't sit back and waste your days and lives worrying about why this sister gets to get away with this and I don't. Why does this person have it easy, but I have it so hard? That's what happens with sisters. That's what happens with men. We're so focused on why is my life so difficult? Why is my life so hard? But I look right over the way, and this cat's kicking it and chilling and smiling. And he's taking it easy. He said, listen, it is an honor that you would give him more responsibility. How about that? It was an honor that the Most High said, you know what? This person can handle more than that person. He can mentally and physically take on the responsibility that this person might not be ready to do yet. What was you going to say?
I was saying in the Blue Letter Bible, the definition of ability is moral power and excellence of soul.
Exactly. So it is an honor for the Most High to think you can handle more pressure and stress. You can weather the suffering. Because everybody has a burden to bear in their pursuit to please the Heavenly Father as servants of the Lord. None of us escape it. I want to make sure I clearly explain this even more about the correlation to burdens and dealing with the people. I want to tie that in. So let's get Numbers 11, verse 16 and 17. This ties in how when the Most High talks about dealing with people, he's dealing with burdens. Because we can see it dealing with animals. I got to get up at 5 in the morning. I got to feed these animals. I got to sit back and take out these troughs. And I got all this farm work to do. It was Numbers 11 and 16 and 17. Numbers 11, verse 16 and 17. And it explains the burdens that each and every one of us who chose to serve the Lord, whether knowing or unknowing, were drafted into.
God.
Read this.
Numbers chapter 11 and verse 16. And the Most High said unto Moses, gather unto me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom thou knowest to be the elders of the people, and officers over them, and bring them unto the tabernacle of the congregation, that they may stand there with thee.
So the elders and the officers had to stand with Moses and deal with a certain type of responsibility that they were ordained to deal with. Give me verse 17.
Verse 17. And I will come down and talk with thee there, and I will take of the spirit which is upon thee, and will put it upon them.
So the Most High said, I'm going to give you several abilities. I'm going to take a little bit from Moses and give each of these officers and judges ability. But why did the Lord give ability to these other officers and judges? Why did he take this essence solely from Moses and give it to other men? Why do we study? Why do we read? Why do we commit ourselves to the work? For the same reason. Read on.
And they shall bear the burden of the people with you.
This is what the talents are. You get the counsel. The Most High gives every single one of us different abilities, different strengths, the ability to counsel, an enormous or great work ethic, positive outlook, the ability to counsel, communicate, study, read, whatever your abilities the Most High gave you, well, so that you can help bear the burdens of the people.
Yep.
This is how it all ties in to verse 14 and 15. This is what our path in serving Christ was always about. He gave us specific talents, weights, and pressures based on our ability to give and help people on a larger scale. This is the answer to why my life is so hard in the truth. Does that make sense?
God.
Why I got to work all these hours? Why I got to sit back here and feel the pressure and stress and the responsibility? The question always goes back to, why do I have to take on this level of responsibility?
God.
This responsibility is so damn hard because people are always doing this. People always need you to counsel them. People always need you to keep them strong. People always want to quit. People always need to get refocused. People always need to be inspired. And all that means less of you. You have to carry the burden of being strong for the people you're responsible for. That's your talent. That's your burden. Half the time of the truth is dealing with men and women that don't want to deal with their burden. That's what half the counsels are about. Why do I have to deal with this damn burden? This burden is too much. It's always work. It's always pulls. It's always counsels. I get no off days. It's counsel this, counsel that. I gotta go to the brother's house. I gotta work longer. I gotta sit back here. I wasn't even on the delivery schedule. I gotta go over there and help these. Why I gotta help these dudes? I'm not even working today. I was supposed to be studying. You want me to study, right, a war?
Yeah.
And why I gotta sit back here? It's only 5 drops. That's nothing. He can do that. What if it was my turn? I wouldn't be doing it. I wouldn't be asking anybody. I would just do it, knowing damn well if somebody said, "Hey, I'll take 5 loads." Okay, I'll take it. Yeah. Knowing damn well they offered that you do it. But this is what's in people's mind. It is the constant annoyance that men have to own up to these burdens and carry these burdens. And the burdens are what? It's the burdens of the people. It's the burdens of the people and what they need. That is the talent. Does this make sense? Am I going too fast? What you gonna
This is
say?
key right here. The 8th definition of bear. To suffer without resentment.
Done.
So when it says bear the burden of the people, it didn't mean bear and be resentful. It meant to be able to carry this load without resentment. That's proper bearing.
Don't forget, we chose to serve the Lord. These servants on the Lord's land, they chose to be there. And in the midst of their work, in the midst of their commitment, in the midst of what they showed leading up to Christ leaving for this period of time, one individual showed he can handle half a ton's worth of responsibility. Another person proved he can handle 200 pounds worth of responsibility, demands, needs, requirements, expectations. And one man, regardless of if he was on point or not, had that 100-pound burden on him. Everybody got a burden, from the highest ranking to the lowest rank. So, did that Numbers 11 kind of tie it in? Read verse 17 again of Numbers.
Numbers chapter 11 and verse 17. And I will come down and talk with thee there, and I will take of the spirit which is upon thee, and will put it upon them.
So funny thing is, even when the Most High blesses you with wisdom, He blesses you with a greater understanding. He gives you all these abilities. He only gives it to you with the expectation that you make His children or His flock benefit from it. It was never to build you up. It was never to empower your life. It was about making other people's lives better. That was the intention in Numbers, and that was the intention in Matthew. Okay, let's go back to Matthew. It's going faster than I thought, but it's cool. What? Not yet, because we might go towards the end with that one time. We might tap it out.
Matthew chapter 25, verse 15.
From the top again.
God. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to every man according to his several abilities.
So to every man, based on this individual's tolerance level, mental and physical strength and endurance is. So this verse proves the scripture that says the Most High doesn't give any man more than he or she can what? Handle. How many times do we tell ourselves what we're going through is too much? It's unfair. I can't handle this. No. Even if you don't think much of yourself, the Most High is like, regardless of what you might think your abilities are or not, you can handle what you're going through. You can handle the responsibility of motherhood. You can keep a job, be a mother, and be a wife at the same damn time. You can do it even though you tell yourself you can't. Brothers can sit back here. There is time to study, work, and be available for the camp, and be a solid husband. It can be that way. But like I've told brothers for years, men back in the day say, oh man, working and working the hours that brothers did back in the day and all the camp responsibilities in the camp, it is impossible to run a family and be a family man and a husband. That's not true. You know what needs to be eliminated?
Your free time.
Your free time.
Your fun time.
Listen, how much we partied as Israelites in the 90s. Guess what? That had to be eliminated. The real answer is you can't party, serve the Lord, be a brother, and be a father and a husband. That you can't do. I agree. But you got to add in that party time. His brothers was drinking and partying a lot. I'm going to throw you right in the bus, but yeah, the 90s was wild. The 90s was wild, brother. So the real answer is you have the capacity to work for the camp. You have the capacity to study, be committed to the people, and still take care of your family and be a good father. It's just you aren't included in the equation. Your vices have to be shaved down tremendously. Okay. So, let's get verse 16. This class is going to go fast. It might be less than 2 hours. But it's okay. We're going to do it.
The end of that 15.
Yeah, let's do 15 from the top again.
All right. Matthew 25 and 15. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several abilities.
That means you are born with the mental capacity and the spiritual capacity to handle
that
pressure
the Lord gave
and stress. Because people, the funny thing about Israel is they're in the world doing multiple things on multiple pursuits with multiple conditions with no sleep.
Yeah.
Israel in the world will go.
Jake says sleep is a cousin of what?
Of death.
Yeah.
So we're going to go run these streets. We're going to go make this money. I'm going to do it all.
Israel
You ever
says,
see like Uncut Gems? You see that movie? That dude was constantly running the streets, bro. Making money, eating bad food, going to this event, making money here, doing a deal here. This dude never rested. What's that?
Oh yeah.
I don't really believe that statement.
he's a liar.
But I believe he don't get tired when it comes to the flesh.
Nah.
He's wide awake. When it's about that alcohol and that drink and them drugs, he don't go to sleep.
Well, he said he had 6 jobs. He don't get tired. That's what he literally said. Whatever.
I guess.
The whole. The whole
Listen. Rapping and smoking and drinking on the mic.
Not a job.
That's not a job. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, Israel.
I wasn't attacking your Kevin Gates example. I just don't really. Anyway, continue.
I'm just saying, Israel has this. They have baby arms when it comes to being in the spirit, but when in the flesh, brothers have ripped, super
Baby
slow
arms out?
22-inch guns, and they can get things accomplished.
22 guns.
Brothers get things accomplished when it comes to their flesh, and it's my first experience, bro. Like, brother's so tired. His car broke down. All of a sudden, brother went like 3 days straight, no sleep, getting cars done, driving across the city out. He had to have his vehicle right. Tight work. I got to get the vehicle right. Tight work. I said, I see. This is how we do. We can get things done if it's your car, your house, your situation, or what you want. When it's what you want, you got the spirit for it.
That's
But
true.
once you're an Israelite, or once you're in the condition of having to serve other people, hey, bro, I'm a 9-to-5 guy, man. I need to stop, bro.
The sun's coming down.
Hey, bro, 6:30 is a little early. It's a little early. We change based off of what you want to do.
Come.
So I was just saying, the whole idea of all these talents, Why Most High points out pre-truth what you can do.
Good. So, now let's get back to verse 16. We're going to take our time on this also because there's a word that really blew me away when I read it.
And straightway took his journey. Verse 16. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same.
So listen, this traded word got me. It said that person who had the 5 talents, the half-ton burden on his shoulders, he went and traded, and he says with those same 5 talents, he traded with the same. That didn't make sense to me. When you look at the definition of traded is an old word meaning versed and practiced. Now we're going to sit back and get the definition of versed.
Not borrowed.
No, he versed. He versed and practiced with the initial 5-ton or half a ton burden that was on his back. Versed. It means, look at the last definition of verse on the verb side with the 1828.
Verse.
Yes.
Verse.
It's 1828 is the last definition on the verb side of verse or versed. Read that.
It says to be well skilled, to be acquainted with.
So, listen. So, to be well skilled, acquainted, and practiced. That's what he did with his 5 talents. So, the 5 burdens that the Lord gave him on his land, the five half a ton of responsibility of dealing with the people that he was responsible for. He was well practiced, well skilled, and well acquainted with it. What does that mean? That means he mastered the responsibility of the work he had in front of him. Nothing else mattered. That 5-talent guy, he didn't trade the 5 talents for other 5 talents. No. He perfected his 5 burdens. He perfected his 500-pound burdens. If you're a sister, do you perfect your relationship with your husband? Or is it arguing and fighting all damn day long? Have you mastered your career and your responsibility that the Lord has on you to serve your husband? Have you mastered, or when I say master, are you on the road to trying to master your relationship with your children? Because the scripture said she should be saved through childbearing.
Yeah.
So that's your talent. So are you sitting back here and dedicating your life to being the best mother you can, to be the most skilled and the most practiced mother and attentive mother, or are you the most skilled and practiced attentive wife that you can be for your husband? Do you really sit back here and know what he needs and are attentive and keen to his needs, whatever he needs it? Because that's what you're supposed to do with your burden. But 80% of the time, we want to get rid of the damn burden. We want to lighten our load. Am I right or wrong? We want to lighten our load and be done with our load. Why is this load so damn heavy? The 5-talent person accepts the load because you can't even perfect and practice and get skilled in a matter until you accept that it's there. And you stop fighting why, oh, why, oh, why. If you're still dealing with the why, I'm stressed, I'm so stressed, then you don't want the burden. You don't want the responsibility if every 5 minutes you're stressed. What's that? Because if it was drinking alcohol, it wouldn't be stressed. It'd be smiling. What's that?
Now I was gonna say, so basically, the one who had 5 talents, he basically perfected his burden so he can get more responsibility.
Yes. That was the point. You jumped the gun, but yes.
I'm sorry. I'm on.
So listen. I'm trying to focus on the embracing of the talent because we can't get past that in Israel.
No.
We can't get past accepting that our life and our burden is doable. Most of us want to run from the burden and responsibility the Lord imposed on us. What he's saying is, I have to learn to appreciate and accept this burden Then I can start learning how to get skilled and practiced and dynamic in it. That's for, I'm talking about women, but it's men, it's women, it's the whole nine. If I'm working the mall, have I learned to master each customer, engaging myself to be the best person and customer I can be for all people? If I'm working the trucks and deliveries, have I learned how to master each customer, each engagement? Have I gotten past my sleep issues on the truck? My discipline, my focus, all the little issues and hiccups I have in my work. Have I learned to embrace it and try to master it? Don't forget, this Lord isn't coming back for an extended amount of time. So you got what? All you got is time to work on practicing and perfecting the burdens and responsibility the Lord imposed on you. If it's about working moves, have I learned to be the most efficient and skilled laborer I can be? Have I learned to be the most skilled counselor I can be as a husband? Have I learned to be as a wife the most skilled wife and supportive wife that I can be? That's what life is supposed to be. This is where our focus should be on until Christ comes back. This is what made the 5-talent person a 5-talent caliber individual. Read verse 16 again.
Matthew 25:16. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same.
So that person with 5 talents perfected his talents, began to be skillful and well practiced in his burdens, in his obligations, and in responsibility to the brothers around him, his camp, the men who need him. Have I learned to be skillful in being a better sister to the sisters? There's a reason why the Most High brings all type of different spirits into a camp. Right? There's different sisters, different people, different minds. If you was in the right spirit as a sister, have you given your mind to having a strong understanding and relationship with every sister the Most High brings in the work to you? As men, have we learned to master the relationship building, teaching? Have I learned to try? When I say master, nobody's mastered anything. But are we on the road to it? Is that where our mind is at? Is that our focus? Is that our priority? The pursuit of the masteries? This goes right into the masteries chapter in Corinthians. Are we committed to the masteries of the burdens that we're all responsible for? This is about intention and motivation. Read again, verse 16.
Verse 16. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them other 5 talents.
Mm-hmm.
And likewise,
how do you make other 5 burdens? Because I'm mentally freed up to the next adventure, the next challenge. I can handle more because I'm skilled enough. It's like this. When working the deliveries isn't a battle anymore, guess what you can do now? Now I can study.
Yeah, it's true.
When studying isn't like, I don't want to do it. Now I can teach my rip, write classes. Now I can put more burdens on myself. But you can't add burdens until the burdens you have are no longer burdens. Does that make sense? You can't grow until the work that you're responsible for doesn't look like work anymore. And it doesn't feel like work. If the responsibilities that the Lord has on you now, once they don't feel like work, once they don't feel like stress, once they don't feel like the worst thing in the world, then I can add on and tack on other responsibilities. And I can do good works. Okay? So, read that verse 16 one more time because I'm just trying to drive a point.
Just close the door, man.
Close the door too, sir.
Matthew chapter 25, verse 16. And he that received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them other 5 talents.
This verse lets us know how we can grow. When the work ain't the work anymore. When you can find joy in the work, then you can sit back here and learn how to get skillful and detailed. And now I don't have to overly think about things every 5 minutes. Then things slow down.
It's second nature.
It's second nature. But it can only become second nature when you're not wrestling and fighting if you want to do it or not. What's that?
Definition of master on your point?
Yeah.
Master, to conquer, to overpower, to subdue, to bring under control.
And this is the thing. When you get those 5 burdens initially, you can feel every pound of it. Well, then once you learn to accept it, then it doesn't even feel like a weight anymore. Just like when you're reading Ecclesiasticus chapter 6, where it says all those restraints and all those shackles, that fetters that wisdom puts on you, it ends up becoming your robe of glory and honor.
Yep.
It might initially feel like a burden and stressful, but once you accept the shackles and the fetters, they become your strength. It's the same thing with these burdens. Once you accept your burdens, then you can go into masteries and then tack on more responsibilities. Just know the responsibilities are related to the serving of your people. Because that's what the goods are. The goods are talking about the cattle of Israel, the lost sheep of the house of Israel, the horses of Judah. Like the Most High constantly talked about the goods being. Okay, read verse 17.
Verse 17. And likewise, he that had received 2, he also gained other 2.
So that other guy that had the 2 talents, he understood the same process. And he stopped fighting his burdens and responsibilities and embraced all the... Once again, these burdens are camp related, church related. Your school related, the needs of the people related. Your personal activities has nothing to do with what happens on the Lord's farm. Think about that. Whatever the hell these 3 men had to do at home had nothing to do with these burdens that the Lord put on them on his property. Does that make sense also? Too many times we want to mush our life and our responsibilities at home and mush them in with the responsibilities on the land the Most High had us work. Don't mingle the 2 together. There are 2 separate dynamics. Okay. Read verse 18. No matter of fact, before we go to 18, let's go to some verses that kind of like add on to the concept. Galatians chapter 6, verse 1 through 10. Yeah, you can do that. Let's do that one first, and then we sit back here and go into this Galatians 6. So, yeah.
Ecclesiasticus 7 and 15. Just to prove that point and how the burdens, when you look at the definition of burden, the definition of burden is that which is born with labor or difficulty, that which is grievous or wearisome. So
it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
It initially is going to feel stressful. It's only going to feel stressful until you learn to accept it. The scripture says, be not afraid of sudden what?
Fear.
What ends up happening when you have all this burden on you? There's a panic. There's a fear that you can't handle it. And this is too much. Moses says, don't get overburdened by that thought that I can't do it. It happens to everyone. Because it's sudden fear. But it doesn't last. If you accept, the Most High won't give you anything you can't handle, and this laborer's work is ordained of the Heavenly Father. So what you got in Ecclesiastes 7?
God, Ecclesiastes 7 and 15. Because when you read in 1 Corinthians, it talks about how we are the Lord's husbandry.
Mm-hmm.
When we're looking at the work,
yes,
the burdens that the Most High is putting on us.
Give me that verse.
1 Corinthians 3 and 9.
That's the one. I was looking for that. That's that. I want that one first.
Okay. 1 Corinthians 3 and 9. Audible.
Yep. Black 39 razor.
I don't care who
1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 9. It says, for we are laborers together with the Most High.
We are laborers together with the Most High. Whether you are a quote-unquote teacher, a quote-unquote student, or a member, we're all laboring together to edify the body of Christ. We all have a significance or role to play when it comes to getting our people back in the knowledge of the Most High. Because we're laborers, we're co-laborers with the Most High in Christ. Read on.
Ye are the Most High's husband.
But you have to understand what that husbandry is.
It's the work on the land.
Yeah.
The husbandry is the work on the land. It's the work and the perfecting of the goods that the Lord had the servants work on. That's what the husbandry is. It's the work on that damn farm. It's the animals. It's the fruits. It's the vegetables. It's all the attention you have to give to the burdens of this land.
That never stops.
It never stops.
That husbandry, Definition 1828, it says the business of a farmer. It says the tillage of the ground, the raising, the managing, and fattening of cattle and other domestic animals. Look at the process in which it takes to be a quote-unquote husbandry, to be a quote-unquote farmer, a co-laborer with Christ. The tillage of the ground. Isn't that what we do every single day? We break up the fallow grounds. We help break up fallow grounds through the scriptures, through the counseling, through teaching. We break up your own imaginations, your personal aspirations, your dreams and your goals that don't match the Most High in Christ. That's breaking up fallow ground. That's tillaging, preparing the ground to plant
so
seed.
it can grow. So something can grow from it.
So fruit can be bared. Because I can't grow fruit or any vegetable on dry soil, on topsoil. I have to get to the nutrients at the bottom. We till the ground. Then you raise the cattle. Then, once you're in the process of raising, you have to manage your thoughts. Manage your ideas. Are you slipping right here? Hey, brother, watch that mindset right there.
Listen, I got dogs that I got to get up every. Listen, it gets cold when it's cold outside. I got to bring these dogs in the goddamn garage.
I had to do it before I got
here.
here.
And they want to jump. They want to jump around, and they want to poop in garages.
Stepping in mud.
They want to sit back and bite things, and they want to scratch things. I'm like, dude, it's work like a mug just to keep these dogs taken care. Then they want to run them out, take them out. Then you got one dog wants to bite the other dog and take his food, and I got to make sure I stay watching them while they eat. Because the old dog wants to take the other dog's food and then eat his food. What am I explaining? It's work like a mug to sit back and just deal with 2 dogs, 3 dogs, let alone a whole nation of people or a bunch of cattle and a bunch of sheep.
Yeah.
It is a all-day responsibility.
Yeah.
And the only way you can tap into it, you have to dedicate your mind to it and create a system to it and a structure and live off that structure. Then it's not about what you want anymore. Now you're a servant to the system.
The needs.
To the needs.
But what makes someone who's a farmer and who dwells with husbandry not so bad is you need to do these day-to-day actions to survive.
Yep.
Do we look at working in the truth, working amongst people around us as a means to survive? Mm-hmm. If I don't operate in this level, the Most High is not going to keep me around. He's not going to use me anymore. Can I look at it with that level of severity? Versus again, this is just I'm just passing time. It's a stepping stone to my next adventure.
No.
You have to look at it with severity to take it serious to become addicted to this process. The addiction comes from the fact that there's nothing else that's occupying the space in my mind. There's no other passion, there's no other desire other than taking care of these animals, taking care of these sheep, making sure they grow and they have prosperity. It says the managing and the fattening of cattle. The fattening cattle, I'm giving you excess. If I'm fattening you, then I'm losing.
And then it's not just even fattening. There's a book called Dead Doctors Don't Lie. And there's this farm guy that sat back and learned that when these animals a lot of these animals, when they have their litters, they have birth defects in these animals.
Yeah.
And sometimes half the damn breed dies, or half the damn litter dies.
Yeah.
So what happens is this animal doctor, veterinarian, had to sit back and figure out what mineral are they deficient in, to where we can kind of, this next batch of kids or this next batch of litter, they can all come out, or the mortality rate lessens. Yeah. So that's also sitting back here studying what mineral they need, what vitamin they need. Because animals get vitamins and minerals too. I don't know if y'all know that.
Yeah.
And back in the old days, they will be given vitamins and minerals to cut down on going to the doctor. But it's also learning and studying and analyzing what cattle needs this, what sheep needs this, what animal needs that. What do you think counsel's about? When you're at the school, what do you think we're doing? Trying to figure out what this brother needs, what this sister needs. Well, we got to counsel about here. What needs to be counseled over there? This is what we're showing is the level of thought that goes into becoming skillful. But keep going, I was putting.
Now give me that Ecclesiastes 7 and 15. So we're co-laborers with Christ. We are the Most High's husbandry. Read on.
Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 15 reads, hate not laborious work.
What is a laborious work? What's the hard work that comes with having to manage the lives, the souls, the thoughts of people? It's the day-to-day grind. It's endless. There's always going to be someone who's needy. There's always going to be someone who's pulling your virtue, pulling your strength. If your strength is counseling, you're going to get that counsel virtue pulled every opportunity that you can get it, or that they can get it from you.
And either you're going to learn to accept that is your life, or you're going to run from it. And depending on how you look at that and accept that will determine if you can handle more talents. And if you can double the talents that you were once given. It's really based on how I look. And if I accept the burden that's already on me now. Yes.
I got to pull this. Side precept. Psalms 27 and 13 real quick. Hold that real quick, my woman. Psalms 27 and verse 13.
Psalms 27.
Because if I can't see the good and what the Most High given me, the mentality is going to be this. Read on.
Psalms 27 and verse 13. I had fainted.
I had fainted.
Yes.
I had become depressed. I had become overwhelmed, angry, anxious. If what? Read on.
Unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living.
It says, if you don't believe, if your objective mindset isn't to see the good and what the Most High has given you, the good and the talents that the Most High has given you, the responsibilities, the quote-unquote burdens, because technically, we're not supposed to call this work a burden to the Lord anyway.
Don't go into that yet.
I got you. But it's a responsibility or an aspect the Most High has given on you. If I have to believe to see the goodness of the people in the land of living.
Yep.
My people, the Most High put in front of me. I have to see as this is an important job. This job is here to save lives. I'm here to help save lives. Can I see the value in that versus what my personal feelings are at that moment? How I'm looking at life at that moment? It's not about how I look at life at this moment. The Most High says, I can't hate laborious work. Read on Ecclesiastes.
Hate not laborious work, neither
the husbandry, the raising, the managing of the cattle, of the sheep.
Of the people.
Read on.
Which the Most High have ordained.
Because that was a commandment of the Most High. It was your job. You were ordained from birth to do this work, to have this talent.
Mm-hmm.
And then after you get that level of talent, can you add on more responsibilities, more talents to it?
Yep.
Yes, sir, Grant.
What you're saying is we have to wire our mind to be thankful for the Most High giving us this opportunity.
And we were all ordained to bear this burden. That's what the calling was. People think the calling was just to get knowledge and information. The calling was to get the power. Everybody says knowledge is power, right?
Yeah.
The wisdom is power. We were given the wisdom just for the same reason that the elders and officers were given the wisdom in Numbers 11 and 16 and 17. Why were the elders given the wisdom and the power then? So they can bear the burden of the people. You were taught you an Israelite, you know your tribe, you wear fringes and you got a vest so that you can bear the burden of the people. That was your calling. That's why you know who you are. Sisters, you guys came into the knowledge so you can bear the responsibility of being a good wife for your husband, be a good mother to your children, and bear the ups and downs of the sisters you work with every day. That's what you were called to do. So stop asking why. Why, oh why, oh why. The answer is right here. Yeah. It's about accepting why. Is what we got to get to.
This is why Paul said, this aspect of thinking is a renewing of mind. Because you have to change your way, how you previously thought and function in life, versus how the Bible tells you to function in life. To prove what is good and the acceptable will of God. To get to that level of mindset, it is a renewal. It is a new way of thinking at things, at life. It's a new way of processing information that's not common, or you're not born with that ability. You study to get that ability. You counsel to get that ability. That's all you.
So let's go to Galatians 6:1-10.
There you go.
We're going back to 11 and 20.
Galatians chapter 6.
Galatians chapter 6, verse 1-10.
God. Galatians chapter 6, verse 1. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault.
Now this chapter goes into specifics about what these burdens are. Okay? Because how many times do we get fed up with this brother's SHIT? Well, how many times this person get on my last blankety nerves? How many times you did with this brother? I done told him 3 times now. I had told him 3 times now. He ain't listening. He got a problem with me.
He should know this.
He should know this. Now read verse 1 again. This is an element of what the burden is. Read on.
God, verse 1. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such as one in the spirit of meekness.
So what he's telling you is the burdens, or some of the burdens that we deal with our people, are the inconsistencies, the rebelliousness, the pride, the emotional instability, the emotional inconsistency, the outlook issues, the sicknesses that equate to a person being overtaken in a fault. Dealing with Israel, Israel gets overtaken in a fault every day.
Yeah.
And the bigger your camp is, guess what happens? It's like whack-a-mole. Who's played whack-a-mole? At least seen it on television. These monsters keep popping up. It's non-stop. This whole half is controlled. Now this half pops up. Now you knocking these down. Then they pop back up. That's what the larger your camp is, the more you're going to get. A bunch of people overtaken in faults. Consumed with their mania. Consumed with their emotional instability. Their sicknesses. Their vomit. So he says, brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, if you're spiritual, which is what we're supposed to be, we have to take their faults or their burdens, right? Was to carry their burdens, their instability, and do what? And restore such a one in the spirit of meekness. My job is to keep carrying and absorbing sickness and walking people off the ledge, so to speak. That's all of our jobs. So if you're working with somebody that just can't get it right, your job is to sit back here and keep working with them until they can get right. Keep being patient with them until they fix it or they get incrementally better. That's what carrying one of those burdens are. Read it from the top again.
God, verse 1. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such an one in the spirit of meekness.
Meaning, to be meek is to endure injury without what?
Resentment.
So now I gotta do my job and carry you and yours. That's what meekness is. That's what carrying other person's burdens are. Isn't that what makes the work sometimes frustrating? I gotta do my job and 5 other people's jobs.
Yeah.
They're making it harder anyway.
That's making my job harder. But I gotta handle that burden, still be spiritual, and just because this person is getting out of order or this person's overtaken in the fault doesn't give me the right to be overtaken in my anger or to be overtaken in my frustration or my lack of patience. I can't get overtaken in the fault just because this young person is. That is part of the carrying the burden process. If you're a sister, you can't get mad because your kids are acting like kids. Adults, we out of order. Kids can't be out of order a little bit. I'm just going to be that vexed at kids? And you're just as bad? And worse because you know better and you're older? That's the point. I can't let one person's sickness get me to fall off the cliff. Anyway, read on.
God, middle of verse 1. Considering thyself.
I have to consider that the Lord was patient with me. Read on.
Considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted.
And also considering the fact that I got to make sure that I'm in order. And I can't let your being overtaken in the fault tempt me for me to get out of pocket to piss the Heavenly Father off. But give me verse 2. Verse 1 explains what dynamic. Read verse 2.
Verse 2. Bear ye one another's burden.
This is what the talents are. Bear ye the talent. Bear ye the talent that Christ gave you. Bear ye the battle in the frustration of life, dealing with other Israelites who are sick. The problem starts with the idea of teaching. People think they can teach a person a breakdown, tell a person what color they are, and just go about their day. That's barely scratching the surface of working with a person's issues. It takes years of tolerance and dealing with their vomit and sickness to scratch the surface of actually helping somebody. Am I right or wrong? It takes years of rehabilitation. Why am I angry? Because this person I'm tired and I just don't want to call this. I don't want to pick up the phone right now. I'm tired and I don't want to deal with his crap right now. Then you're in the wrong job, wrong profession. So, bear ye one another's burden. Read on.
And so fulfill the law of Yahushua.
And this is what Christ was explaining in Matthew 25. The law of Christ is to hold and carry your talent. And to carry as many talents as the Lord put on you in your life, in your dynamic. And then not only carry them, learn to be skilled and learn how to master the burdens and the responsibilities that are put on you. Learn to master the people you were chosen to be responsible for. Learn to master, if you're a wife, how to serve your husband. How many of y'all done that? How many of y'all have a really great idea what makes your husband happy and how to please him? You're not doing your ordained damn job. You got to know how he moves, what he wants, when he wants it. That is part of the damn game. I work good. I work my job. That means job, children, husband. That's 3 talents. Can you carry your talents and learn to be skilled in all of them? Or do you run from one and focus on the 2? Because that's what most people do. Most of us don't want to embrace the entire gambit of responsibility that the Most High puts over us. And what we do is hide behind the burdens we've accepted and run from the burdens that we really don't want to do and we really don't want to tackle. And then claim we love the Most High and we value and appreciate Him. How can you value and appreciate Him when you don't value all the burdens and responsibilities He has given to you in your life? Read verse 2 again.
Verse 2. Bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Yahushua.
The law of Christ is, I gave you these burdens. You're my servant. I'm leaving. When I get back, I want to make a count on what you've done with them. I'm going to come back to see how well you've embraced the responsibilities I put on you and how much more you've added to the responsibilities that I've given you. And based on how well you've accepted and embraced this work will determine if you make the kingdom or not. This ain't a war making nothing up. We're all in the scriptures here. Let's go. Let's keep verse 3.
Verse 3. For if a man think himself to be something, when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself.
Exactly. Because a lot of times if we think we're doing everything we can, we really aren't. Because the funny thing is, the more you give yourself to your work, the more you realize you have a long way to go.
And
you know how many times we've gone over Matthew 25 and not seen this? This is a reminder to me, hey man, you better sit back here and continue to go over every class that you've ever gone over again. Because there's always more to it. Even with y'all studying You gonna sit back here, your first set of notes are gonna be cool. Guess what? You're gonna rip them damn things up 5 to 10 times if you're doing your job. Don't think, I've got the 50 breakdowns and I am good for now. I've got these 30 magical breakdowns. Shit. You're gonna run through them and then realize you had baby understanding at that time. Now I gotta come back and rewrite it so it to make better sense based on where I am now in my life. And look at 2 years later, why the hell did I make this horseshit ass class? I'm dead serious. That's what I did. Like, what the hell was I thinking? And the Lord said this. There's got to be more to this. Now, it is a life serving the Most High, embracing your job, embracing your calling. There's always more. There's always details. There's always concepts that you haven't evolved to yet if you learn to love your job. If you learn to love your calling. There's different dynamics with brothers, sisters, your husband. There's different layers and different dimensions that you just haven't scratched the surface yet. Because you don't care enough to do it. If you really care, life, dealing with men and brothers, there's always more that you can learn about a person. There's always more you can help them in. But how enthusiastic are you in your pursuit of understanding and learning and growing and pleasing Heavenly Father versus Israel to want to be 9 to 5 people? I did my job. I cooked your stinking meal. Now leave me alone. There's food in the fridge. Damn, can you warm it up? There's a microwave right there. Damn, can you sit back and warm it in the nice oven? I guess. Like, damn. This is how people think. Am I right or wrong? In general. It don't got to be cooking. It can be in other departments. I will give you bare minimum because I really don't want to do this. Or I don't do it at all. These are real things too.
I'm just checking the checklist.
I'm just checking the boxes to say that the job was done.
You cannot say, I didn't do ABC.
I'm telling you, this is Israel's problem. Men, women, the whole shebang. We're bare minimalists. That's what the hell we are. That's what Israelites are. We are bare minimalists. We do just enough to get by. And we want maximum blessings.
Where are my blessings?
Bare minimalists, maximum demanders of the blessing. Anyway, so let's continue.
Verse 4. But let every man prove his own work.
And every man has to prove his own work. The only way you prove it is to check it, double check it, and triple check it. And the only way to prove your work is every day do you meditate on what you did right, what you did wrong, what you could have did better, how you could have improved in this arena. Is that where your mind is situated at? In all the elements of your work? Even when you counsel men, could you have been a better counselor? Could I listen more? Could I pull more verses? Could I have removed my emotion from the counsel? Could I have detached my pride when this person's... Could I have reacted to this person's pride better? This is how you prove your work. Oh, well, this brother reminds me of a brother I dealt with 5 years ago. I got to be better at this situation than I was the last time. These are all dynamics that we're responsible for, how we show the Most High that we what? That we prove our own work. Read verse 4 from the top again.
Verse 4. But let every man prove his own work, and then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone, and not in another.
Because what he's saying is, you have to learn to love your work.
Yeah.
A lot of times we do jobs just to get a pat on the back. We sit back and serve for acknowledgement. We sit back here and do all the bells and whistles just to get a rise from somebody. The Lord's like, you got to do this sacrifice and this commitment because you love it. You really love getting up in the morning and working, helping out your people. Why am I saying this? Let's use even in a sports analogy. Don't coach them. You got to love practice. You have to love working out in the off season. You have to love sitting back here changing your diet. You have to love something like you're running hills and doing this extra work. You have to love every aspect of what it takes to be good in the field. A lot of cats with talent don't make it because they don't love all the work you got to put into to be good in what you put your hands to. That's not just a truth thing. That's a life thing. And the Most High, Paul is saying, listen, man, you have to learn to love this. And because you can give 110% of your effort, you can go to sleep and say, man, I did my best today. I am at peace with my sacrifice today. I was tired here. I pushed through this. I was mentally beat. I pushed through this. This was hard. I didn't let it break me today. I'm happy and content because I did things the right way to the best of my ability. Read on.
John, verse 5. Well, for every man shall bear his own burden.
Every man has to bear their own burden. That who gave them?
Christ.
Christ gave us this burden. And that we have a responsibility to bear it. And to stop complaining. Half the time we limit ourselves. And we water down how potent we can be in Christ because we're just so focused on complaining about the time we don't have and complaining about how much work we got to do. Stop complaining about how much work you got to do and learn to perfect the work you do. If you learn to love the work, love your responsibility, love your burden, it's not as hard. Those people that say that they love their job, it's not like they worked a day in their life.
Yep.
Now, we might not like lifting boxes and selling oil and doing deliveries. But you know what? We need to learn to love why we do it and who we do it for. And if I learn to love why I do it and who I do it for, then that 12-hour day might feel like 9. And that's a win. That's a damn win. Yes.
And seeing improvements in the men, also rejoicing in that.
That's how you make a 12-hour day feel like a 9-hour day. Because I'm focusing on men's incremental growth, their brother's development. How did I handle this brother being overtaken in the fault? This brother is snoring and I'm vexed. How do I sit back here and handle this person being overtaken in his sleep fault? How many different ways have I tried to get the best out of this guy? And do I quit on him and just get angry and snap at the person? Or do I keep figuring out what this person needs to get the most out of them? That quest is how you grow and how you learn to add greater talents to yourself. Because I'm telling you this, Most High brings different challenging people in your life so you can deal with more challenging people down the line. You think the people we got here got issues? Wait till the next batch. Gen F. I'm just making. I don't know who the next generation is.
Say alpha.
I'm saying F. This F is bad. You get bad grades. I don't know what the hell the next generation is. Listen, this generation don't even write cursive. What's the next generation? Y'all dudes don't write cursive. What's going on with y'all?
I write cursive.
A lot of cats don't write cursive in this generation.
I think we're the last generation to write cursive.
Huh? That's what I'm saying. Most people at y'all age don't write cursive. I know that. It's like, my name is like why are you writing all weird? You write some cursive, B? It's all caps. And it's like you doing your homework and it's this weird block letter and it's bad writing. I'm like, what the hell? That's the truth.
We type now. We don't need
listen. I'm gonna say this. The next generation, there's gonna be some more problems you got to deal with. The younger generation, more problems. Serious, man. But with these problems, you can't get ready for them until you learn to accept and embrace the problems you got in front of you.
And evolve with your labor.
But you know, the evolution of your labor is the acceptance of your labor. Is the acceptance of your burden. It starts with most people just don't want to work that hard to get a good thing to go. It starts with the fact that most people don't want to work that hard to get a blessing. It's that simple. Most people don't want to work hard enough to get the result they say they want. I know. But that's what it takes to get anything in the spirit. And the root of most men's problem is they don't want to work that most people don't want to work that hard to get acknowledged. I'm just going to roll and do my bare minimum thing and just tell myself I've done enough. When you know damn well you haven't. Read on.
Verse 6. Let him that is taught in the word communicate unto him that teacheth in all good things.
The person that's really taught in the word, you have to sit back here and teach and communicate in good things despite seeing a bunch of what? Faults. What do you see when you go into any camp, any town, USA? Mistakes, faults, weaknesses, sicknesses, inconsistencies, negative outlooks, voids, deficiencies. We have to be trained to communicate in good things and teach good things despite evidently seeing nothing but problems. And accepting that somebody has to be a shining light amongst darkness. But this is what carrying that burden really is. Carrying that talent. That 100-pound weighty talent. Maybe 100, maybe 200, maybe 500. Can you embrace this is your battle? If you're a captain or a leader over one duty and responsibility, learn that you got to deal with the pressure and stress in stride while teaching good things. Always apt to teach. Always apt to, yes, you got to correct, obviously, but your aptitude's got to be more to teaching than being fire and correction. You know you got a young captain when all he's doing is yelling and cussing and angry. He's fire, 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 shamai, 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 drop, drop. That's always your answer, Pete? Damn. It's drop all the time? Or I'm just going to be quiet and I'm just going to cut you off and be the most passive-aggressive person in the world? That's what brothers do too. That's immaturity. Can you check? Can you correct? And can you make it about a lesson? Can you spin it spiritually? That's a person who is no longer annoyed that he has to serve. That's a person who has shown through their actions that the burden doesn't disgust him. Let's continue.
God, verse 7. Be not deceived. The Most High is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
This is the point. This is why a lot of us don't get the good we want. A lot of us don't get the happy husbands. Don't get that glow in their eyes, being happy to see them. Maybe you're not putting enough in to get that satisfaction from him. Maybe you're not getting the blessing as men that you want because you're not giving enough to him. You're not doing this with gladness and joyfulness of heart enough. You reap what you sow. Read on.
Verse 8. For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the Spirit.
Read it again. Read it again, man.
For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption.
Mm-hmm.
But he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting.
Whether you're reaping to the flesh and you're gaining in the flesh, or you're reaping in the Spirit and gaining to the Spirit, it is in different levels. So the goal is to sit back here and get to the point where there's no longer a battle to do that which is good. The goal is to get to the point where there's no longer a battle to embrace the burden that the Lord gave to you. Half the problem is we don't want to embrace the burden. We don't want to embrace the pressure. We don't want to embrace the responsibility. That's what the talents class is about. You can't even talk about doubling nothing so you can accept what's in front of you. Accept and then learn to perfect it. Or at least learn to get very skilled in it and very well practiced in embracing your burdens. It's a change of philosophy that we have to work on. Husbands, wives, brothers, sisters. Read on.
Verse 9. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season...
We can't be weary in carrying these bricks. I'm going to put that big-ass talent on the damn screen again. Don't be weary in carrying that big-ass burden. You ever see them old Mickey Mouse cartoons where the mouse is like whistling while he works out? You're like, brr, 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 brr. Listen, are we at that point where there is enthusiasm? Another counsel, another one. Let's do it. This young brother, let me find a different way to get him to see this. I know that one. You're to sit back here and meditate on different ways to get the most out of people that are sick. That makes you a good teacher. That makes you a good counselor. Your relentlessness in your pursuit to get a person to see something that they're not ready to see. So it says, let us not be weary in well-doing. Let's not be weary in the practicing of carrying and managing these burdens. Read on.
Middle of 9. For in due season we shall reap if we faint not.
Listen, if we sit back here and just take stabs at counseling and embracing the work, learning how to master your schedule and all the responsibilities on your back, and you just go at it every day, stopping not, fainting not, hesitating not, you will get the reward for your sacrifice. But how consistent are the problem is we faint all the time. We're 3 days up and then we faint for 5. We try good for 2 weeks and we stop. That's our problem. You will never get to mastering 5 talents and then doubling them if you're fainting every few days. You're fainting every few weeks. Our endurance has to increase. But how does your endurance increase? Your love has to increase. Because if you love something, you won't quit on it. Is that true? If you love something, you will continue to push as hard as it takes to gain what you're trying to accomplish. If you love it. If you don't love it, you're going to stop all the time. You're going to start and stop, start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. When you see that in yourself, just know you really don't love what you're trying to fix enough. See it in your husband or wife, just know they don't love enough. And they got to work on their love. When the effort is inconsistent, that means the love is inconsistent. When our effort towards our brother is inconsistent, that means our love is inconsistent. Then expect the flesh. Expect that inconsistency back. Expect half-ass efforts back. Because you don't try. Why are you going to get this? Why are you going to get the spirit? And why is Moses going to try hard for you when you don't try hard for your burdens to handle your responsibilities? Read on.
Verse 10. As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith.
The ones of the household of faith, you have an obligation to carry that burden. You have an obligation to carry that burden with gladness and joyfulness of heart. And then for sisters, especially your husband. That's what due benevolence is all about. Give that husband what he needs. And whatever he needs. Brothers, give that student, give that brother you're responsible for everything he needs. So he can be strong every day, despite what you're going through, despite how tired you are, despite how frustrated you are, despite how crappy your life might be, your personal life might be. That has nothing to do with the students that need your time. Let that verse go. And we're going to Matthew 11, verse 28 and 29. We're 29 on that too.
No.
Matthew chapter 11 and verse 28.
29.
Very good.
Yep, read that.
Matthew chapter 11 and verse 28. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden.
So Christ is like everybody who's stressed out and who is lamenting on the burdens that were put on them, come to Christ. Meaning what? Christ gave every one of us the burdens, but a lot of us have these burdens but don't look at things spiritually to be able to handle them. We don't operate spiritual enough to truly embrace the burdens the Lord has presented to us. So he says, everybody who's burdened and stressed out, learn how to look at things how Christ intended us to look at them. Read on.
And I will give you rest.
He's going to, what does that rest mean? Mosai is not contradictory. So he's not saying, I'm going to give you days off and weeks off and months off. The rest is mental. If you learn how to think and operate like Christ, the burdens that are in your life aren't going to be looked upon as burdens. If you learn how to think like Christ, you don't look at your responsibility for the Lord as a burden, as something that I would rather avoid. Read that.
Verse 29. Take my yoke upon you.
What was Christ's yoke? The burdens he gave us. Let go of your burdens and embrace Christ's burdens. Do it for your people. Lose for your people. Sacrifice for your people. Commit to your people. Read on.
And learn of me.
And learn how Christ carried that burden. Read on.
For I am meek and lowly in heart.
What he's saying is the way that Christ learned to deal with the burden that he was given, he was humble. To be lowly means to not be above suffering, losing, or going through anything.
Or inconvenience.
That's what lowliness is. I'm not above suffering for my people. I'm not above losing for my people. I'm not above being inconvenienced for my people. And I'm meek, and I'm also not above being hurt and taken advantage of for my people. Read on.
And ye shall find rest unto your soul.
So you'll find rest in your burdens if being hurt and taken advantage of isn't your, what do you call it? The criteria where you say, I'm not going to do it. Listen, you know how many times brothers have been offended? And because they were offended, they quit? Yeah. I had a conversation with a brother a while back, and he was like, listen, man, I just had questions about the duration of the camp. And I was like, listen, man, you can't come into this with the mindset that if the direction of the camp ain't perfect, I'm out of here. You can't be that way. You cannot do that. You can't grow in this, because there's going to be phases where things are being stable. There's going to be phases when leadership's going to be messed up. You know how I know? I've lived it. There's times when the camp was stable and leadership made good decisions, and there was times when there was herky-jerky, free-for-all stuff going on. I can't sit back here and say, you know what, if it ain't perfect, I'm out of here. That ain't what the Bible said. The Bible says you got to have the capacity to be meek and lowly regardless of this perfect condition that we want and expect. Listen, we say that about men in the camp. But how about it when a woman sits back here and thinks you're a shitty husband? Do they get the chance to get out and leave? All these men that want to leave camps, how come women can't leave men? How come women can't leave men like men leave camps? You know what I thought about that? It's the law.
Yeah.
Men can leave camps when they want to, when they get offended. But if the wife gets offended, she has to stay with her man regardless.
Till he dies.
That's ridiculous. So it's a one-sided play, right? It ain't one-sided. You got to serve whether you're a husband or a man. Do the good and do the bad. We are examples that, you know what, you can weather through bad and the Most High will deliver you.
You're all right.
And that's facts.
Eventually.
This isn't about throwing darts. This is about a lesson in the spirit. It's no deeper than that. There is no knock or there is no bitterness or no frustration about anything we've gone through. Everything we went through had to happen the exact way it did. Because it taught me what servitude really was. And that you can't be conditional in what you do for the Lord. Your service, your commitment can't be conditional based off perfect scenarios working in your favor. That's not life. So Christ said, in order for you to deal with the burdens that I laid on you, you have to be meek to endure what? Hardness without what? Resentment. I got to be able to deal with hardness, deal with rejection, not take people personal, and I got to be lowly. I can't be above losing and being inconvenienced for nobody. That's how you learn to embrace the burden. That's how you learn to deal with the burdens that Christ gives you upon him returning to see what you did with the burdens. Does that make sense? Okay. Read verse 30.
Matthew chapter 11 and verse 30. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light.
The burden is light because Christ said he won't give you anything you can't handle. That's why the burden is light. If you learn to embrace your burden, your talent, you can do anything. When a person learns to accept that they're a servant, and that it's not about what they want, it's about the will of the Lord, you can accomplish anything in your life. And it's going to be light work. Let that go and go to Matthew 16 and 24 through 26. Matthew 16, verse 24 through 26.
Matthew chapter 16 and verse 24. Then Yahushua unto his disciples, then said Yahushua unto his disciples, if any man will come after me.
If you're going to follow Christ, what he's saying here is, if you're going to sit back here and serve on my property, if you're going to serve me on my land, what do you got to do?
Let him deny himself.
And this is what I was saying earlier. Listen, all the work and the challenge is being talked about, the burdens and talents expressed in Matthew 25 have nothing to do with the battles you're dealing with. You can't even go and be a servant unless you deny yourself and not make it about what you want. Right?
Come.
Matthew 25 deals with the burdens that the work puts on you. He's like, deny yourself. Don't make it about you before you learn to start following me. The problem is, we start following Christ with all of our burdens, coupled with the burdens that Christ puts on us, and then it's unstoppable. It's too much to deal with. Now I got to quit. You started off the wrong way. You started off carrying all your baggage. When you were supposed to be willing to let that go to follow the Lamb whithersoever he went. Read on.
Let him deny himself and take up his cross.
You got to take up Christ's burden. A cross is a burden. Deny what you want, carry his burden, and follow Christ. Read on.
And follow me. For whosoever...
You see how all of these chapters and verses tie in? They're all saying the same thing. They all blend the same way. Read on.
For whosoever will save his life shall lose it.
So the person that doesn't deny himself, the person that doesn't choose to be a servant, is going to lose his life. Read on.
And whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it.
So whoever denies his life and accepts it's not about their life, then they'll find the spiritual life. Then they'll sit back here and be in a position to carry his burden. And if you're in a position to carry his burden, you have an actual opportunity to get to the kingdom. How can you even classify yourself as being in the running to get to the kingdom if you're not going to bear the burdens Christ puts on you by dealing with the people? All right or wrong? Read on.
Verse 26. For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul?
What's going to profit a person if you get what you want in the flesh and don't get pushed and not have to change anything and commit to the Lord? What good is getting what you want and lose your spirit? and lose your chance to get to the kingdom. He's telling you, if you get what you want, you don't make the kingdom. Read on.
Or what shall a man give in exchange for his own soul?
He's telling you, you got to give up your life so you can properly carry Christ's burden. And if you do it the right way, you got a chance of salvation. If you don't carry his burden and you want to carry all the vices and burdens in you, you're not going to make the kingdom. It is impossible to carry his burdens and your burdens together. Something has to be let go. Yes, sir.
That's considered a double-minded man.
Con. Because how can you carry both burdens like that? I'm going to feed the flesh, feed and push for my ambitions, while simultaneously learning how to learn to be ambitious in serving Christ. You can't do it. You just can't do it. Read on.
For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father.
Wait. What verse you got, sir?
27.
That's all I want from there.
Come on.
Let's go from there and jump to. I'm not going to do John 10. Let's go to Numbers 3 and 9 real quick. What with that? Yeah, let's do that real quick.
Oh, yeah.
What you got?
I just wanted to pull a quick verse in Baruch 4 and 4.
Then go there real quick.
Baruch 4 and 4 real quick. I've been looking at it all night. Might as well.
Burdens of the Lord.
Alright, you ready? Come. Baruch chapter 4 and verse 4 reads, O Israel, happy are we. What makes Israel happy? What is your light? What is the light in your eyes? What's the apple in your eye? What we're going to find out is the apple of my eye the Most High? Or is the apple of my eye with my own desires? Read on. O Israel, happy are we. Why should we be happy? Read on. For things that are pleasing to the Most High are made known unto us. The happiness comes in the fact that I know what the Most High requires of me. I know how to get his favor, and now I get to enact how to. I get to enact what his joy is. Before I didn't have a purpose. Before I didn't have an objective. I didn't have a direction. Now I have a direction. That's where the happiness and the joy is supposed to stem from. If the Most High's will and his burden is the light of your eyes. If that's the lifestyle you want to live. If not, you're not going to be happy. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to be vexed. It's going to become a task or a grueling task. Because what the Most High wills for you to do is not your objective. Ultimately. We can sit here and say it is all we want. But your actions, your countenance, your day-to-day efforts show where your heart's at. That's all I want from that. Just quick.
Okay, go to I had it Numbers 3 and 9.
Mm-hmm. Numbers chapter 3, verse 9.
Yep.
And thou shalt give the Levites unto Aaron and to his sons. They are wholly given to him out of the children of Israel.
Once again, we went over this last Monday about the Levite priests, and their job was to be given to the children of Israel. Mm-hmm. They were supposed to alleviate the burden on Aaron so that the job and the work of the priesthood can be evenly distributed amongst these brothers, this particular tribe of people, to deal with the burdens of the nation. But right now, we are those Levites. We are those priests. And our job is to carry the burdens of our people so we can help sustain them and be examples and that light to our nation, men and women. Okay? Let that verse go. And go to 1 Corinthians 12, verse 3 through 11. Then I'll go back. I want to finish the topic, man. Let's just get, 1 Corinthians 12, verse 3 to 11.
God. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 3.
Okay.
Wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaking by the Spirit of the Most High calleth Yahushua a curse, and that no man can say that Yahushua is the Lord, but by the Holy Spirit. Now there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit.
Now, the Most High gives different people different gifts, different abilities, different strengths. Read on. But it's in the same spirit of helping and rehabilitating our people. Read on.
Now there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. And there are differences of administration, but the same Lord.
There's different jobs, there's different responsibilities, but there's the same Lord that we serve. Read on.
And there are diversities of operations, but is the same
Power.
Yahweh, or power, come, which worketh in all.
Read on.
But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal.
But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal. But that profit that comes from the manifestation of the Spirit in different ways to us is set to really profit who?
The body.
It should profit the body. It should be going and directed towards the talent and the responsibility that we have for those people. Read on.
For to one is given by the Spirit of the word of wisdom, to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit.
Some people were given wisdom. Some people were given knowledge. Read on.
To another faith by the same Spirit. To another the gifts of healing by the same Spirit.
So these different diversities of gifts, healing, faith, knowledge, wisdom, it's used to profit the people that we're responsible for. So we're all given different burdens, different talents, and we're supposed to use the gifts the Lord gave us to benefit the people that we're responsible for and that we have to carry on our backs. Does that make sense? So there are gifts that we are given, but those gifts have to be directed to carry the burden that the Lord gave each and every one of us. Yes, Kariah?
I got a question. So the gifts that we have, I was saying that the gifts that we have, is it supposed to fill in those void blanks or gifts that other people don't have?
Well, that, but to be specific, for each burden and people that you're responsible for, all the gifts that you have are required to be given to the people that you're responsible for. And based on how well you dedicate your time and your life and your mind to those burdens and those responsibilities, you will have the ability to eventually add more abilities to yourself to where you can be of a greater service to those same people you're responsible for. Does that make sense? But you're not getting additional abilities and gifts if you don't sit back here, if you don't show the Most High what you're willing to do with the and how you're going to deal with the burdens and responsibilities that are put on your lap. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay. Let's continue in 1 Corinthians.
1 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 10. To another the working of miracles, to another prophecy, to another discerning of spirits, to another diverse kinds of tongues, to another the interpretation of tongues. But all these worketh that one and the self same Spirit, dividing to every man severally as he will.
So it still goes back to whatever gifts the Most High has given you. Are you taking those gifts to feed those talents and to properly work those burdens that the Lord gave us? So your abilities are used to build up the people that you're responsible for dealing with. Let all that go. Now we're going to go to verse 18 of Matthew 25. I want to go back to that because there's more verses, but I want to finish this today. We're already halfway there. So Matthew 25 and verse 18.
Matthew chapter 25 and verse 18. But he that received one went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money.
But he that received the 1 talent, that 100 pounds of responsibility, that 100-pound burden, he says he sat back here, he received it and digged it in the earth and hid it. So for however many months, years, and long time this man went on this long journey, he just put that responsibility and just put it in the ground. didn't try to perfect it, didn't try to work on it. He avoided even looking at it. He avoided even looking at the responsibility. People do that. People be running from responsibility. People run from work. Am I right or wrong?
I got a pause right here.
Yeah.
You see what you think about this. It says earth. It says the ninth definition. In Scripture, things on the earth are carnal, sensual, temporary things.
Mm-hmm.
So when he buried his talent in the earth, it's just this person was consumed with their flesh
Huh?
the whole time.
Huh?
I was consumed my flesh.
And I wasn't going to perfect.
Come.
Well, listen,
And
to sit back here and
temporary.
embrace your burden
No.
means you have to enjoy the work.
Come.
You have to enjoy the work enough to perfect it. You have to love what you do. Do we love what we do? Rhetorical question. Do we love what we do? How or are we learning to love it? That's what we're supposed to be doing. Because I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you, people for years said, man, if it wasn't EO, I'd be there. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If it wasn't EO, I'd be there.
Man,
I'd give my whole
can we do
100.
something
I'm just
else?
not a salesman. Okay, well, we can lift boxes. If it isn't just moving, if it isn't just lifting boxes, I will be there. The Most High is telling you, listen, man, no matter what you do, people are going to find a reason not to do it and not to commit to it. I'm telling you. Well, what EO thing, man, it just can't be EO. If it's anything else, I'll try it. Then, well, hey, we got 2 different things now. We got 3 different things. I'm okay. Because the issue is, people just don't want to sit back here and learn to see the good in the ordained work the Most High got for them in their city. That's the issue. People run from work. They run from responsibility. And they run from enjoying the work enough to perfect the work. People run from just being responsible and owning up to responsibility and learning how to value responsibility. We value women. Brothers value sleep and free time. They don't value the work. And that's our problem. So, let's read that verse again.
Matthew 25:18. But he that had received one went and digged in the earth and hid his Lord's money.
That means that person didn't try to perfect nothing. He gave his life to running from his responsibility, running from dealing with his people, running from being responsible for his people. That's really what that talent was. Brothers didn't want to be responsible to study enough so they can teach their people. They ran from the work so they couldn't be an example. They ran from sitting back here. Brothers be sitting back here. As soon as class is over, they want to go home. A lot of times, the best times to help people are after class. The best time to develop people are after class. Right?
God.
Brothers will counsel with alcohol in their hand. Why? Because you're getting something out the deal too. What about just sitting here and counseling at gyms? Who wants to counsel at gyms? No, that ain't the spirit.
Unless you want some.
That ain't the spirit. Counseling, listen, counseling at FedEx Kinko's, bro. Why don't you do that? That ain't the spirit, bro.
It's not cool.
Wait, there ain't no music going. Ain't no alcohol there, man.
There's fax machines over here. I don't
That's
want to
not
hear
fun. That ain't fun.
that. Copying away.
That's my point.
Copy your life away.
You say what?
You're copying your life away.
You copying
Can you
your
get
life.
this email? Can you print this email, please? Print it.
Listen, what am I saying? What am I saying? We're explaining that the one talent person just doesn't embrace doing what it takes to feed the sheep and be responsible for strengthening the people that they're responsible for. Does that make sense?
It's like that for moms too, though. Because
Yeah.
sometimes there's moms. I don't, you know, I've grown up. You know, I've seen moms that the mom has to party and live her life.
Yeah.
The kids are the kids. They're gonna be there. They're gonna grow up. Whatever. I fed them. They got SpaghettiOs. I gotta live my life.
Is that still a thing? Do they
Brother,
still
it was
sell
SpaghettiOs.
SpaghettiOs? Also, do they still sell SpaghettiOs? Okay.
They got this
Ravioli.
They got the tomato. They got the tomato mustache shot. And they're just out there waiting for mom to get home. They're parenting themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. But we're like that too as shepherds. Are we gonna sit here and consume with our need for freedom. The need for freedom really kills the ability to serve us.
Yep. And that's what's happening. And he put that talent down because he didn't want to be responsible for nothing and nobody. Okay? Now hold that. Go to Matthew chapter 5, verse 15 through 16.
God, Matthew chapter 5, verse 15.
Let me see. Okay, let me try to type in. Let's read that, sir.
God, Matthew 5 and 15. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house.
God, read on.
Let your light so shine before men.
So you're supposed to, he's saying, let your light shine so everybody can see it and gravitate to it. But the problem is, if your light is shining and people are gravitating to it, that means you don't have time to be selfish. Because that's the consequence of being a light. When you're a light out in the darkness, what always comes around? Bugs. Bugs is always.
There's some light here.
It's crazy, right? But that's what being about serving the Most High is about. Everybody's gonna be around you, right? Asking questions, want something, I need something, I need counsel, and that's okay. Can you accept that process? Can you accept that as being your calling? The phone calls, the needs, the pulls. I can't just unplug. You can't unplug when you're the light. People won't come to you at all the times. And can you accept that? And that is a burden. That is a burden of the people that you have to embrace. This one talent guy ran from that. He wanted to deal with the responsibilities and the pulls all the time. Let that verse go and go to Ecclesiasticus. Ecclesiasticus 21 and 15.
Cover. Please. I got it, bro.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 21 and verse 15.
Come. Ecclesiasticus chapter 21 and verse 15 reads, if a skillful man hear a wise word, he will commend it and add unto it. But as soon as one of no understanding heareth it,
because you know what? Because a person that doesn't have understanding, when he hears a wise word, what does a person with no understanding hear when he hears a wise word?
Work.
Nope. It's work.
Hell yeah.
It's work. It's responsibility. It's more inconvenient.
I don't feel like doing this right now.
I'm going to keep losing. It's wisdom. I'm hearing wisdom. I'm hearing good counsel. I'm hearing good strategy. But you know what I end up having to do? A person with no understanding hears all the work they have to do to accomplish this mission.
Give more.
I got to sacrifice. I got to give more. I don't want to hear this. I want to get out of here, man. Forget this. So the person that's skillful, just like the person with 5 talents, he was skillful, right? Because he embraced the work, he embraced the burden, and learned to perfect it. So a person that's about perfecting the work hears good strategy and adds on to it because it gets you closer to what you want, which is developing the men, developing the people, strengthening the nation. The person that doesn't want to deal with understanding, that's out the spirit, when he hears wisdom, all he hears is it's more time I can't get rest. It's more time I can't get in the gym.
Heavier burden.
It's more time I don't have for myself. That's the person with no understanding. They can't get past what they're going to lose out the deal. Read on.
Come. But as soon as one of no understanding heareth it, it displeaseth him.
It displeases him because I'm hearing all the things I can't do anymore. If we're going to get the camp to grow, we're going to do more counseling. Oh, God. They go to the brother's house is lacking. Oh, man, we got to you go to that B house. It's like, you might as well play those. When brothers hear B house, overnight bee house parties, it's just some more work. I was working all day. I had to work and do double work, triple work. Hey, it's something like every month is a GI party.
Every month.
Every month is a damn GI party somewhere.
Try living it.
So what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? I'm saying.
He's trying to focus. Huh?
You know, well, I'm gonna say this: is it a GI party, or are you living the glorious life of serving the Lord Jesus Christ and healing the sons of the Father? Listen, it's one or the other, bro. Listen, we better learn how to look at things the right way, bro. Listen, is the brother's house the training ground to develop men? That's the real answer.
You gotta learn to love to live there.
You gotta learn. You know why? You gotta learn how to live to deal. You gotta learn to love to deal with all the helter skelter out. There is helter skelter at the DB house. It always has. It always has. It always damn has.
The Wild West.
Listen, listen. You're like the master of ceremonies. If you're the head guy, you had to wrangle the elephants in. You had to sit back and check on the different.
Is he there? He's not in his room. Where is this brother?
I know where
He didn't say nothing. He's walking. You got
to make sure phones are on. Mutes aren't off.
Doors is locked.
The doors are. Listen, you got to do everything.
Heaters are cut off.
But you know, I'm gonna tell you this. You say what?
Heaters are cut off, bro.
Lights are off.
All the electricity.
Listen, but my thing is this: that teaches you how to run a camp. Because what do you think this is? This teaches you how to run a house. People run from it, but all those guys that don't go there, they're deficient.
Lacking skill sets.
You're deficient in
Your own house.
in your own house in one way or the other, and you're deficient in learning the management of multiple people in multiple situations. So a person can look at it as a curse, but it really ain't. It prepares you for load management and pressure and responsibilities in your own house. And that's a fact. So it's best, like the scriptures say, to learn how to see the good in your burden versus sitting back here looking at it like it is I don't know, just hell on earth, because it ain't. I'm not knocking anybody, I'm just saying. I know we were joking, it was light, but be conscious of those things, because a lot of truths are spoken in jest, and you want to make sure at all times you can see the good and remind yourself of the good in all the responsibilities that are presented to you in your life. Okay, Ecclesiastes 21:15, the second part of it again.
Come, but as soon as one of no understanding heareth it, it displeaseth him, and he casteth it behind his back.
So what do you think this one talent guy did? You left, and now you want me to sit back here and perfect this? I don't even want to do this burden. This is too much. This work is too damn much. But once again, why does a person say the work is too damn much? Because Israel don't want to work. Israel is lazy at heart. We talked about it earlier. Israel wants to do the bare minimum and get maximum in return. Israel has been saying that for years, right? We don't want to work. We don't like working. We don't like embracing the responsibilities that are in front of us. Hell, even in Jake world, let alone the truth. Anyway, what kills me, brother, sometimes lead the truth. Yeah, and I want to grow and do bigger, better things. You sit back here and make $500 more in the world than you did in the camp. Like, what are you doing? If you're gonna sit back here and go and do it big, do it big.
Big.
Make your money. If you're gonna go left, go left. You don't go left and just sit back and make
$250 more.
What kind of bullshit is? What are you doing?
You got time.
That's ridiculous. Anyway,
Yeah.
what are we reading about this one talent guy? The idea of work, the idea of being skillful and learning how to master and practice mastering, handling the burdens that the Lord gave him. The idea of that was not cool. The idea of learning how to apply wisdom to build up the Lord's house, they didn't value it. So they put that burden and just hit it on the ground and didn't practice it, didn't work on it, didn't try. Because they didn't value it, and it was too much work in their eyes. Why do brothers in the truth stop working or don't work at all? Because it's too much work, and they don't get enough back to put that work in. Because that's what this one talent guy is doing. It's too much work to perfect this. I'm not getting nothing back. I'm not getting enough back to put that work in. I'm going to toss this damn burden off my shoulders. Read on. Read verse 18 in Matthew again. 25. No, not yet. I'm sorry. Give me Luke 14. I missed a verse. Luke 14, verse 25 through 33. Then we'll go back to the top. Luke 14, verse 25 through 33.
Luke 14, verse 25. Yeah, you're right.
You got this?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, cool.
And there went great multitudes with them. And he turned and said unto them, If any man come to me, and hate not his father, and mother, and wife, and children, and brethren, and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple.
So first thing is first. In Matthew 25, these guys already gave up their life to be on this land and be these husbandmen. You can't even be a student and a servant until you give up your life. Your life has to be nix and kaput before you can serve Christ and begin to carry on his burdens, like we talked about before. Read verse 27.
God, it says, And whosoever doth not bear his cross.
So after letting go of the burden of your world and your flesh, now you have to embrace the burden that Christ puts on you. And if you don't sit back, the first thing is, if you don't let go of the burden of the world, you can't be a disciple. Now, if you don't sit back here and bear the burden that Christ puts on you and continue to follow Christ, you can't be his disciple. Those are two different battles. The first battle is letting go of those attachments to the world. The second battle is, can you learn to handle, to appreciate the burden Christ puts you through in your life? If you can do those two things, you can be his disciple. If you can't do one or the other, you can't be his. You can't get to the carrying his burden until you let go of your attachment to the world. For the most part, for the most of us, have gotten past the major attachments to the world. Now we're here in the phase of accepting the burdens the Lord has put on us. But we're not out the woods. Because if you don't learn how to value it enough to perfect it and to practice perfecting it, you won't last long in being a disciple. Read on.
It says, And whosoever does not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple.
His cross is Christ's burden that you got to carry.
And I say also that point of coming after Christ, meaning you're not making it about you.
20, I'm 30.
You're making it about Christ. Some men will get the information, get the knowledge, and all of a sudden it's about them. No, you're coming after Christ, man. You're actually going to form yourself and conform yourself into doing the way Christ did it.
Huh?
Men get the knowledge, men get the breakdowns, men get the scriptures, men get spiritual skill sets. This happens too. And then it's about them. Then they're the man. Then they're the pinnacle of focus. Really, you're supposed to be, it's not about you, and you're coming after Christ. You're following Christ. You're sitting here simply just a laborer for Christ. It is not about your name, your prosperity, your growth, or people honoring you so you can feel good about yourself. Needing validation from men.
Good. Okay. Let's continue.
Verse 28. It says, For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it?
Because it's really about, when you start this work, we have to make a decision that it doesn't matter how far this rabbit hole goes, I'm going to finish it out. Because none of us, when you first come into the knowledge, knows how much you're going to have to give. Do we? You get some cool knowledge. You feel like you're floating on air. The Jews. I'm Judah and Reuben and whatever. That means I'm special. I got fringes. But then you really get into this and really realize, damn, I got to really commit. But he said, before you come into serving Christ, understand, you got to sit back and come into the finish to the end and be humble enough to allow the Most High to take you to all these different levels and winding paths that you're going to have to follow to get to what you want. Read on.
Come. It says, verse 29, lest happily, after he hath laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. Or, what king, going to make war against another king, sitteth not down first, and consulteth whether he be able with 10,000 to meet him that cometh against him with 20,000.
So he's saying to count the cost. Make a decision early that it doesn't matter what you go through, you're gonna give the Most High everything you got. This is what he said. Or if you don't, and you sit back here starting serving the Most High, putting your little pinky toe in the water, as soon as it gets a little cold, you're getting out. You don't want to operate in that stance. Be prepared to dive in all the way so you have a greater chance to grow. Read on.
It says, or else, while the other is yet a great way off, he sendeth in ambassage and desireth conditions of peace.
Mm-hmm.
So likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsaketh not all that he hath.
In order to sit back here and count the cost to finish however far the Most High is going to take you, you have to be willing to forsake everything you got. Because if you forsake everything you got, then all you got left is what? What's in front of you. This is why Matthew talks about the kingdom of heaven is like a person who sells the land he has for that land that he values to be greater than what he's got. You have to take an all-in approach, or you will never get to the position of learning how to value committing to this word and committing to the development of this word. Listen, man. Listen, if you don't say, man, I'm going all the way in it, and then you get with all this pressure and the insanity of our people, you be like, why am I doing this? All I need is one semester in school, and I'm good. Let me sit back and just go back and do this. The Most High is like, listen, bro, you can't go into it like that with your plan B's and C's and your contingency plans. Because with those contingencies, you're never going to commit all the way, and there's not a no turning back situation. I know for me, when I left home in '96, right after I graduated high school, there was no turning back, bro. When I was in Cali at my family's house, there was always options. I had scholarship offers. I could have went here, went there, and did my thing. When I said F it, I'm gone, I wasn't going to sit back here and say at 25, I'm going to change now and go back and get those letters again and re-enroll. I'm going to re-enroll. I'm going to do it. Listen, man, once I'm gone, I'm gone. Most likely going to show me what he's going to show me. There's no turning back. It's ramen or die. I'm eating ramen. I'm eating these Debbie cakes, bro. I'm drinking pita juice. There's no turning back. I'm dead ass serious. But in that position where there's no turning back, then everything is what? Forward. And I'm going to perfect everything I do in this work. Because when you burn all the other bridges, all you got is one damn bridge. You get the most out of yourself when you take that stance. When that person is playing both sides of the fence, you're not going to get the most out of your work. And the Most High sees that. And that person that doesn't commit, he's reaping to the flesh and the spirit. So you're not going to get the reward of the person who reaps completely to the spirit. Anyway, did we finish verse 33? Read verse 33 again.
It says, so likewise, whosoever he be of you that forsaketh not all that he hath, he cannot be my disciple.
Because you can't be molded and developed unless this is the only way. When you got all these other ways, you're not going to grow to the same extent as a person who has no other options. That's just the truth. Let that go. and go to where was I at? Verse 19, sir, of Matthew 25.
Matthew chapter 25 and verse 19. After a long time,
After a long period of time been winding, going and going. Read on.
the Lord of those servants
We know
cometh.
that's Christ. The Lord of the servants is Christ. He's coming back. We know that means when Christ comes back in general, because the beginning part of this parable was about the kingdom of heaven. I think that's me. So when the Lord comes back, this is at the end. Read on.
And reckoneth with them.
We're going to look at the definition of reckon. It's the verb tense, number 1 and number 2. When he comes to reckon with these 3 individuals.
Come. Reckon. 1828. Webster's Dictionary. To reason.
Nope. It's the verb tense.
Okay, come.
The verb tense, and it is it's the last 2. It's to reckon with, to state an account.
Okay, yeah, come. To reckon with. To state an account with another. Compare it with his account.
So now, listen, it's time to sit back here and start counting. I'm going to sit back here and count all the times you fought, all the times you didn't fight, all the times you quit, all the times you tried your best. I'm giving an account. I'm making an account now of all of your works since I was gone. That's what the coming of Christ is about. It's a reckoning of all of your works, all of your intentions, your commitment level, your dedication level, your sincerity level. How much were you committed to the craft of serving your people? How much were you dedicated to the craft of perfecting your work, the craft of studying, the craft of counseling, the profession of being a professional Israelite? How about that? There is a conduct and a way you're supposed to carry yourself as Israelites. And do you take pride in that? Do you take pride in your profession like the white man takes pride in his business arena? No. No, we don't. Do we take pride in our work like ball players take pride in their basketball game? In their football game? No. This is a goddamn burden. Names like LeBron, oh boy, this is a dream come true. I'm going to find complete happiness in my servitude. Training 100% a day, eating right. LeBron puts, I heard, like $1 million. He spends $1 million a year just on his body.
Yep.
So he can be productive and last longer.
Yep.
Listen, the point is, that's love and commitment and dedication. That is what being a professional is. Do we choose to be professionals in our servitude towards the Father? No, we don't. We half-ass study. We half-ass do our job at the work. We half-ass counsel. We half-ass listen. We half-ass give to one another. We don't operate in a professional matter. So when Christ comes to reckon us, he's like, did you guys act professional in what you did for your people? How serious did you take my work? How serious, sisters, were you trying to be sisters to other sisters? How serious, sisters, were you committed to your husbands and serving your husbands? Did you take it to heart as much as you were supposed to? How much love, brothers, did you put into these men? How serious did you commit your life to the profession of being a teacher and an example? That's what the reckoning is. He's going to sit back here and tally your effort and your commitment and your dedication. Day by day, week for week. He'll have all the angels who are in charge of all the hours of the day take notes of what you've done and what you've not done. That's Revelation talks about that. That's what the reckoning is. Read on. Read verse 19 again.
Matthew 25 and 19. After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoneth with them.
That's judgment day. And he's reckoning all your works and intentions, blow for blow, to see how serious you were in your commitment. Read on.
And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying,
So it says, the one that received 5 talents brought the other 5 talents. He worked the 5 talents. He began to be skillful in working his 5 talents. It talked about how he traded, right? Mm-hmm. And trade was what? It was versed and practiced, meaning skilled and practiced in the burdens. That means he embraced his burdens. He accepted his burdens. And because he accepted his burdens, he was rewarded with 5 additional burdens. The problem is, do we look at our burdens as rewards? Do we look at our responsibility as rewards? Hell no, we don't. That's our problem. And we're going to get reckoned because we don't look at our responsibilities as rewards and acknowledgments for the good we do for his people. Because you don't learn to get skillful in anything unless you look at what you're putting your hands to as an honor, as an honorable thing. It is an honorable thing to help rehabilitate a spirit from sickness to health. That is honorable. That's one of the most honorable things you can do for somebody else. Didn't Christ say it's better to live for somebody than to die for somebody? Mm-hmm. Dying is easy. Living takes more effort and dedication. To live for somebody else, I'll take a bullet for you, dog. You want to die anyway, nigga. That's why you said it. You were okay with dying.
Get out of here.
I did a good deed when I died, so I didn't kill myself together. So I took a bullet.
Let me in.
This is ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. But to live for somebody every single day and lose for somebody and share and give and be content with that, that's what he's looking for. Read that verse again, bro.
Matthew 25:20. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliveredest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained besides them 5 talents more.
So I have gained 5 more burdens. Burdens are a gain. If you don't learn to see your burdens as your badge of honor, then you're really not growing. Just like we said it earlier, Ecclesiastes 6. All of those fetters became your badge of honor. I'm just going to read that part, just that part of it. It says, Ecclesiastes 6, and it says, come here, let me see. If you find it, read it. You find that part where it says those fetters end up becoming your strength. No, it's in Ecclesiastes 6. I'm just trying to find, matter of fact, 6:29. That's it. Matter of fact, we're going to jump. It's going to be 6:24, 25, and 29. And this is, you should read the entire thing from verse 18 down, but this kind of hits the right points. Ecclesiastes 6, verse 24, 25, 29.
Ecclesiastes chapter 6, verse 24. It says, and put thy feet into her fetters, and thy neck into her chain.
He wants to put your feet into wisdom's fetters. Remember we read it in Ecclesiastes 21 that the skillful man that hears a wise word will add on to it. But what are you adding on to? You're adding on to the fetters and the burdens and the responsibility that's required to apply wisdom. And the fool, when he hears wisdom, I don't want to hear, forget that. I'm passing it aside because that wisdom requires me to do more work. That wisdom puts me and locks me into more chains. I don't want more chains. I don't want to have the ball and chain of the brother's house, the job, studying, the commitment. I don't want all these responsibilities and burdens. Is that not the Israelite condition? I know it is. So he says, if you're going to really please the Father, willingly put yourself under the fetters and burdens of the Heavenly Father. Read on.
Verse 25.
Stand up, Yeshua.
Bow down thy shoulder and bear her, and be not grieved with her bond.
Accept the constraints and the burdens of being responsible for others. Now jump to verse 29.
29. This shall her fetters be a strong defense.
All the things, all the restraints and all the burden ends up being a defense for your spirit. It actually develops your spirit.
That's crazy.
Read on.
It says, be a strong defense for thee, and her chains a robe of glory.
All the burdens that you carry is what makes you glorious in the eyes of the Heavenly Father. The chains make you glorious. The chains make you honorable. The burdens that you willingly tack onto yourself, the burdens you share for your people, is what makes you glorious. This is why in Matthew 25 it says, I have gained besides them 5 talents more. I have gained more what? Blessings. I've gained more glory. There's a person that understands what this is about. The more burdens you take on for your people, the closer you are to the Heavenly Father, and the more you know the Most High will acknowledge your commitment. The burdens equal glory. So the quicker you learn to master and embrace the responsibilities you have now, you'll be given more responsibilities, which are more opportunities to please the Heavenly Father. But psychologically, we have to change from our selfish way of thinking that we have. We're selfish, we're full of pride, and we're lazy, and we don't want to be inconvenienced further than what we have to. That's really what we are. That's really our problem. Let Ecclesiastes 6 go, and we're going to go back to Matthew 25 and verse 20.
Matthew 25 and 20. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliveredest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained besides them 5 talents more.
It was a blessing and it was a gain that I added more burdens to me. Once again, psychologically, that's such an impactful verse. You've gained by more burdens being put on you. Read on. 21.
21. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things.
The funny thing is that the Lord said a half a ton is a few things. Yeah. Yes. A half a ton. No, now listen. Funny thing is, 10 talents is a ton. That's a few things. Because he brought the Lord a ton. He said, that's a few things, man. You didn't do something. That's good. I'm going to bless you for holding that weight, dragging a ton on your back. You ever see those World's Strongest Man competitions out? Yeah. You see, it's always Magnus something. Magnus Larson, Magnus Samuelson. That's the same guy or what? It's this big hoss Swedish guy is carrying his damn truck. Yeah. It's a truck. I'm talking about the guy that just carries the truck out. Like, what are you doing? He's carrying the truck in chains out. Like, I'm like, what are you doing? I don't care if it's in neutral. You know how hard that is? It's got to be in neutral, but you're pushing a ton, B.
Ain't no gas left.
Or you put, what's that? More than a ton.
So this is what he means when he says my burden is light?
Yes. It's light because it's not that hard if you love doing it. If the only thing you care about is the fact that the men are developed and that the families are in order, brothers are taught, and I'm not trying to shoot a horn. How long? We was here counseling yesterday till what? Like 5, 6? We were there at 9. We were counseling from 9 to 6.
No, you were there at 8. Remember?
It was 8.
I called.
Yeah.
I so counsel.
And my thing is, listen, 9 to 8. But when I went down home, I slept like a baby. Because it was like a lot got done today.
People were sad.
People were satisfied. The Jews got counsel, and there was clarity, and it was like today was a good day, like Ice Cube. Listen,
tired, but everything else.
But it was a good tired.
Yeah.
You could be tired and not do shit in the house. You could be tired and watch Netflix all damn day long. Am I right or wrong? I've been watching TV. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired. We're tired. We were counseling all day. At least we got things accomplished. And the feeling that you were on top of your responsibilities your spiritual responsibilities brought peace of mind.
It's productive.
So that's how the burden can be light. There was a lot of souls that got fed for that day. What's that?
It also goes into, when you read in Proverbs 16, it talks about how the Lord's weight is just in his balance.
Yep.
It's just in his balance because it's according to what your ability and what you can handle. First, like you were saying earlier, whatever your ability is capable of handling, you get that divided based off what you can do, what you can give. And you don't know it necessarily, but if you accept and believe that, you'll be able to handle it.
And that's how the burden is light. Shalom, shalom, everybody. That's how the burden becomes light. When you accept the conditions and the responsibilities that the Lord has given you, then it's no longer work anymore. People understand that in the world. When you love what you do, it's not work. When you love what you do, it's not a burden. When you love your people, when you love what your service to the Father, when you appreciate and accept hard work and dedication, and not be concerned with what you're not getting out the deal, the burden is light.
And you invest until you love it.
Yeah. And that's what the scripture says in Proverbs. It says, commit thy works to the Lord, and then eventually your thoughts will be established. When you say, every day, I'm going to stop philosophizing and thinking about why, thinking about all the moon, stars, and quasars, and why the planets are aligned the way they are, and be the thinker. All that, but I'm just, people say, man, I just think so much. No, you don't. You think about negative and lust all damn day. That's not thinking. I just think so much. There's so much going on in my head. What's going on in my head? Lust, sleep, lust, sleep, lust, sleep. That's what's going on in your head. That's what you're thinking about. And then when you're tired, you think about lust to keep you awake. There's lust, sleep, lust, sleep. Come on, man. You ain't gonna fool anybody. I know what thoughts mean. Get out of here, right? I'm just thinking so much. I'm just thinking about. I'm so deep. I'm sitting here in council, brother, I got these thoughts. I'm always thinking, and I'm always thinking so fast. So you're just thinking about lust fast. you have rapid fire thoughts about lust. That's what you're thinking about. I am the thinker. Yeah, you're some Greek philosophizer. Get out of here. There's nothing Greek about you but your lust. That's what's Greek. That's what's the philosophizer. Get out of here, bro. But brothers swear, don't give me those start off the conversation. I'm just thinking so much, and I'm meditating so much, and just thinking about what's going on in my life. Come on, bro. When I hear that, you're just meditating on what you're not getting out the deal. That's what you're thinking about. That's what you're meditating about. Brother, you can't fool me. I've heard it all. I'm like, okay. I know where this thinker's coming from. Anyway. But where are we at? Matthew 25, right?
21.
25 and 21. Let's read that.
Matthew 25 and 21. His Lord said unto him, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things.
You have been faithful over a whole ton worth of responsibilities and burdens. And because you ate it like a champ, and you embraced and accepted it, and you understood that the Lord's burden was light, come to the kingdom. And I'm going to make you a ruler over many things in the what? Because what do you think? We're rehearsing the righteous acts to do what?
To be rulers over many.
To do more work in the kingdom. You think you're going to sit back here when play harps and wear white outfits and not do shit in the kingdom? That's what you think.
What you want?
Like, what's the conversation?
In the clouds. You're just floating in the sky in yoga outfits. That's what you think is going to happen. I'm in yoga outfits, blowing horns, and I have a green like leaf hat on my head. You know that's what people be thinking the kingdom is. The Lord wants to see. He wants to see how much you commit to your people and dedicate to your people now, because He knows you're going to do it in the kingdom. Because that's going to be your job, is working in the kingdom. What do you think's going to happen? What are we doing? Golly, So he's like, because you can handle this burden and be at peace with it and love it, I know you'll love handling the responsibility of helping reconstruct this earth back in my image.
I can't wait till we get the kingdom up.
So I can relax.
More work.
Everybody says, oh, we're going to be in the kingdom and have 20,000 ribs. Like, damn, that's all you want to do,
Come on, bro.
That's what, listen.
That's
I'm
real.
going back to those 90s classes out. We're going to have 1,000 ribs. We're going to be in all these places and having fun. And it was all about fun. A lot of the picture of the kingdom was about fun. What we're going to get out the deal. It wasn't taught a lot that based off your work ethic, you can be used to do greater works during the time of the kingdom. What do you think's going to happen? Oh, do you think you want me to 144,000? You thought you 144,000, huh? You thought you was doing the work of Jeremiah, huh? You thought you lost as much as Daniel, huh? No, you didn't. You thought you went through what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego went through. You gonna get what they get, huh? Now they might get some breaks. Your ass is going to work. How about that? Oh, you think you worked and gave up as much as Joseph? You think you sacrificed as much as Moses?
Ezra.
Those dudes get the kingdom. Those dudes get the high echelon. Huh? We're going to be all porters in the kingdom, bro. You better get you a porter cap. You better get you a porter cap because we will be porters.
Message.
If you make it. You will be porters. You'll be doormen. We're going to be henchmen. Huh? You ring? We're gonna be putting it. You ring? What are you want me to do? What's that? Listen, bro, we're gonna be working. You think we did what Jeremiah went through, bro? Those you guys are getting the best of the best. You're going to work, and you're going to work based on how good of a porter you were here. Were you a good porter here? Then maybe you could do some port work on a higher level in the kingdom. This is what the scriptures are saying. This is not a war's opinion. This is what the Bible says. Let's continue. Matthew 25 and 21 still, right?
Enter thou into the joy of my Lord.
That's the kingdom. But when you get to the joy of the Lord, what's the joy of the Lord? More work. More porter work. Based off how good of a porter you were when you was on the earth. Read on.
Verse 22.
Everybody wants to escape work and commitment and responsibility. Everybody wants to escape it. We're always running from it. That's why, like last class, men become idolatrous. Why have men since the beginning of time became idolatrous? They don't want to just go to work.
Yeah.
Why am I sitting back here? Why are men sitting back here and worshiping Astarte? Because they thought it'd be easier on their crops. They have to work as hard for the crops.
Yeah.
So you know what? Because I don't want to work that hard, let me worship these idols, corrupt my spirit, so that my crops can be easier, so I don't got to work as hard. Why do we sit back here and quit now? I don't want to be a porter for the rest of my life. I got aspirations, man. I got goals, man. I got big plans, man. This is all these y'all jive turkeys, man. I got better moves, man. I got things I got to do. Like, okay. But listen, you either gonna be a porter in the kingdom or you're gonna be burning. Being a 1/3 kid.
2/3.
2/3 kids. Sorry.
2/3.
1/3 boys is porters.
Yeah.
Porters all across the board. Get that priest crap out of your brain. Report a priest. Report a priest. I didn't want to say priest porter. You're porter priest. Okay? That sounds more like it. Keeps us back humble. Read all that. Verse 22.
Verse 22. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliveredest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents besides them. His Lord said unto him.
So listen, now that the man with 2 talents doubled it like the 5 talent guy did. Read on.
His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things.
Mm-hmm.
Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord.
Exactly. Read on.
Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee, that thou art a hard man.
Now I got to puff him up. Now I got to set the bargain up. Now I got to create the excuse. I know you a hard man, which also means what? I knew you had expectations when you left. I knew you expected me to put the work in and to find value in the burdens that you gave me. I knew you wanted me to sit back here and perfect the work of my hands with the responsibility you gave me to follow. I know it because I knew you were a hard man. Read on.
I knew thee, that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathered where thou hast not strawed.
And gathering where thou hast not strawed. When you look up the definition of strawed, let's look that up really quick. Strawed. I mean, I think, I read it, but strawed is like where you like a person like, let's look up straw. And it was to spread or scatter. It's the last definition of straw. So he says, the Lord wanted to gather where he didn't sit back here and spread the word at. This is why the scripture talks about how we're supposed to teach the word whenever mankind what? Dwell. He wants to sit back here and see you go in territories and places that he ain't been yet. Works that hadn't been done before. Places that haven't been discovered. Territories and people that haven't been taught. Endeavoring in responsibilities that he hadn't or made us do yet. Hey, I want us to grow in places that I ain't been before. So Christ was expecting expansion from us also. He was expecting expansion from his land. He said, you got to gather in places I haven't even strawed yet. So that means you must get off the damn farm or the land he had you ordained in and go out and take this word somewhere else and build based off what you learned where he left you at. Does that make sense? Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's like if like any father would leave an inheritance to his son.
Yep.
And may leave a family business.
Yep.
You expect him to do something with it.
And take it further. Take it further than you took it. Most of them kids, they get the inheritance, they just divvy it up and they just blow the money and they're back at zero. But we were supposed to sit back here and take what we learned on that land, on his property, and expand his property. Expand his word. Expand his message. Expand the works with the template that he gave you based on the burdens he gave you. The template is based on embracing the burdens that you were responsible for. That's how you expand the word out. Expand the program out. Expand the good works. You can't expand and grow nothing unless you learn to embrace the burdens, the basic burdens he gave you. Does that make any sense? Read on.
Matthew 25:25. And I was afraid.
Now hold on. So I knew I was supposed to grow. I knew I was supposed to be responsible for these things, but I was afraid. Why are people at the most part afraid of anything?
It's the unknown.
It's the unknown, but it's also the amount of work a person has to do. People are afraid because of how much work I got to do, how hard this is going to be. You ever see people say, when you give people instructions or a job to do, and they're like, this is going to take all day. You ever see the kids? You tell kids to sit back here and cut the grass and rake the damn the leaves. Like, what's wrong? You know what to do? I know what to do. What's the problem? This is going to take all day. I was going to hang out with my friends. So what am I frustrated about?
My free time being taken.
Yes. I'm afraid, and I'm going to the verse to prove it, about the magnitude of the work I'm going to have to be responsible for. Hold this. We're going to let you say what you got to say. Isaiah 60, verse 3 through 5. Now this chapter is going into the kingdom when Israel gets their power again over the nations. That's what Isaiah 60 is talking about. So read Isaiah 60 verse 3 through 5.
Isaiah chapter 60 and verse 3. And the Gentiles shall come to thy light.
The Gentiles are going to start coming to serve the Jews. And they're going to come to want to start serving the Father. That's what the light is. They want to come to the work. When we're talking about like that light and all the buzz coming around, at the end, the nations are going to want to come to us and get taught. Read on.
Come. And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, and kings to the brightness of thy rising.
The nations are going to start serving the Most High and wanting to follow the people who are responsible for teaching this word at the end. The ones who embraced their burdens on earth before the end came. Read on.
Verse 4. Lift up thine eyes round about and see, all they gather themselves together.
The droves of nations, the thousands upon thousands of people that are coming to get taught. Read on.
All they gather themselves together. They come to thee. Thy sons shall come from far, and thy daughters shall be nursed at thy side.
These nations are going to be coming by the thousands to get taught, to get direction, to be structured and put in a stable situation. Read on.
Verse 5. Then thou shalt see.
Then you're going to see the magnitude of the responsibility. How hard it's going to be to put all these people together and to develop and to teach and to set structures and to set a system that all these people can flow into. The same thing that we had to do on a small level with a camp. We're tripping on 15 people to be responsible for and their families. All that officer 5,000 shit, we ain't got no 5,000 men and their families. We don't got that. We got less than 300 people we got to be responsible for, and we're losing our mind. But we have to learn to deal with that burden and embrace it, so we can deal with the real burden. Thousands of people, children, older people, young people need assistance in teaching and development. We got to put a world back in order. So they said, then thou shalt see and flow together. Read on.
And thine heart shall fear.
Then your heart's going to fear. You're going to fear why? Because of the magnitude of the responsibility. That is another reason people fear. Because people a lot of times, now this is a justifiable fear. When you're seeing seas of people, can you imagine seas of people that need your advice? You ever see like when MLK did that free at last speech? He was in Washington D.C. and when he was speaking at the memorial, how many people it was? But that couldn't have been like but 10,000 people. Right? Imagine when the whole world comes to us for salvation. How many more people it's going to be? That can bring about fear. Being overwhelmed by the gravity of a situation. Right? Let that go and go back to verse 25.
Matthew 25 and 25. And I was afraid.
So this one talent guy was overwhelmed with just having to be responsible for one thing. Guys that had 5 burdens embraced it. The guy that had 2 burdens embraced it. This guy just couldn't handle the idea that he had to give his life to handle his one burden for the Lord. It was just too much. It was too overwhelming. And is that not, brothers? They can't just get past one damn duty. When you sit back and tack on one more duty in a man's life, he's glitching. It's just it's too much. Psst. You start blowing a head gasket out in the spirit because you just can't handle the idea that I got to be responsible for one more thing. This one kind of guy just could not get past the fear of being overwhelmed and stressed that he has to be responsible for so much work. That's a person that never learned to love the burdens. They always looked at the burdens as work. versus looking at the burdens as a blessing and as a good thing. So this one person looked at his responsibility to serve his people, to serve his brothers and sisters as a curse, as a burden, and it stressed him out and it was too much for him. So he says, I was afraid. Read on.
And I was afraid and went and hid thy talent in the earth.
That means I was afraid. I didn't think I can do it, so I didn't do it. I didn't think I can handle the responsibility, so I dropped the responsibility. And I didn't commit myself to owning up to the responsibility. Read on.
Lo, there thou hast, that is thine.
Here, take it. Here's that burden that you initially gave me. You take it, Father. Read on.
His Lord answered and said unto him, thou wicked and slothful servant.
So he says the thinking of a person that just can't embrace the responsibilities that the Lord gave him in a good light is a wicked and slothful servant. It had nothing to do with fear. Because the Most High said he won't give you anything you can't handle. So a person might say it was too much, but he was really slothful. Is that?
That's that definition of afraid.
Mm-hmm.
On your point, there's two of them. Afraid, feeling regret, unhappiness, or the like.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is this: feeling
what? Say that again. Fear was what?
Fear. It says feeling regret, unhappiness.
What would a person feel regret about when concerning the Lord giving him burdens and responsibilities?
I didn't know it was.
The regret is I didn't really want to do this.
Yeah.
The regret is I didn't think I had to sit back here and be responsible for this. I thought I could be an individual and live my life, and it was going to be okay. But everybody that comes to serve the Lord has to learn to deal with their burden and also not regret about the fact that they have a burden to be responsible for. Well, what's the second definition?
Well, the second part of that definition.
Yes, I'm afraid.
Gotcha. So then the second right here, it says feeling reluctance.
I'm reluctant to do what? To commit to this burden. That's what the fear is about. I'm reluctant to actually do the work, the necessary work, to be good at embracing the burden. What's that?
Unwillingness, distaste, or the like.
I just don't want to do it. So me saying I was afraid, I just didn't want to put the work in
And when it's talking about that,
to embrace the burden. Was that?
No, just saying, because when you that one talent, he was afraid. He had that distaste. I don't really want to do this. I'm unwilling.
I don't want to do it. I'm reluctant. I'm regretting. I wish I took the red pill instead of the blue. I always forget, was it the blue pill or the red pill?
The blue pill.
Huh?
I was just watching that before class.
So the blue pill was the
Red was
This guy right here.
That's hilarious. So the red was good, blue was bad?
Yeah, the blue was bad.
Okay.
Like,
So the reluctance is I regret even doing this. I should have took the blue pill. Ignorance was bliss. But now you're not ignorant anymore, so you're stuck in a trick bag.
Right.
And Christ, listen, now you know better. Now you're on the hook to embrace your burden. You can't be in this space where you're reluctant. This is why the Most High said you got to sell what you got so that there's no turning back. There ain't no plan B. This is it. I was called to do a job. The only way to cut that reluctance off, to cut the doubt, to cut the uncertainty, is to kill what you might want to go to if this ain't the thing you want to do.
Which is why in the scripture talks about it's a defense. When you read in that BKC,
Yeah.
it talks about how the Most High allowed the nations to rely on their music, their agriculture, their money,
Yep.
their freedom
Yep.
as a recourse for the better course war. The recourse is the defense.
Yes.
That's your defense in the world to cope with reality.
So if you're a rap star, you're a rap talent out,
That's
stop
your
writing
code.
rhymes.
Yeah.
Stop writing rhymes.
Okay.
That's your out.
Huh.
Listen. Stop looking at the enrollment course to SAC
Yeah.
for January 2024. Cut it off, bro, and let it go. So there's no other options but to learn how to embrace what you got versus dealing with this spirit of regret. Because the Most High says, "He that puts his hand to the plow
Look at that.
is not fit for the kingdom." So you got to sit back and find anything you can do to cut off why you're reluctant. So that fear is reluctance, and it's a lack of a willingness to embrace what you were called to do. and you were called. Everybody that stepped through in these doors were called. But the scripture also says many are called, but what?
You were chosen.
You being chosen, meaning few are called. I mean, many are called, but a lot of people, after they were reckoned, were found faithful enough to be chosen. Read on. In Matthew 25. Yes.
26.
Now it's verse 27 now. No, give me 26 and then, yeah.
Matthew 25, 26. His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knowest that I reap where I sow not, and gathered where I have not strawed.
You know that I wanted you to sit back here and take the work on this farm, and I wanted you to expand the work beyond these borders. Read on.
Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchange.
My money, my goods, the things that I have valuable, the things that are valuable to me, which was Israel. You should have sat back here and learned how to perfect your work and the responsibilities that the Lord, that I gave you. You need to learn how to carry that burden and do well with it so you can eventually double what I invested into you. Read on.
And then, at my coming, I should have received mine own with usury.
But we have a responsibility to give the Most High his burden and double it. But you do that first by embracing and accepting the burdens he individually gave all of us. Once you learn to accept your burden, one, and then two, you can learn how to, once I've gotten past accepting this is my life, now I can learn how to start perfecting the work in my life, the teaching, the studying, the embracing the work ethic, the being inconvenienced, putting my life last. Then I can sit back here and double the works because I've mastered the first set of works. So once again, accept my work, accept my burden as a blessing. Then I can start learning how to perfect that work. And then when I'm able to perfect this work, I can handle more burdens because I already know how to do this. Does that make sense? Read on.
28. Take therefore the talent from him and give it unto him which had 10 talents.
Take that burden, take that blessing, take that opportunity for the Most High to do good by you and give it to somebody else so they can get a greater blessing. So everybody who wants to regret this work, you know what? You have an opportunity. You have a great chance to do very well in this work and grow. But if you don't want it, somebody else will take it. And you'll just be missing out on your opportunity for spiritual glory. Read on.
For unto everyone that hath shall be given.
To everyone that has a willingness and a disposition to serve, you'll be given more. For the people that don't have the disposition to serve, you'll keep losing. Read on.
And he shall have abundance. But from him that hath not shall be taken away even that which he hath.
The person that has that wicked negative disposition, he's going to lose the things that he even has now. Read on.
And cast ye the unprofitable servant.
And then at the end, after he keeps taking away in your life, that your terrestrial life on earth, then what's waiting for you at the end?
Into outer darkness.
That's the H word, bro. That's the big H word. Hell. If you don't sit back here and embrace your burdens with gladness and joyfulness of heart, hell will be waiting for you. Read on.
There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
There's a reason people are gnashing of teeth in hell. I'm going to leave it at that. But, are there any questions? To all of y'all for tuning in, we kind of ran over a little bit, but I thought it was necessary to finish this class off. To all of y'all for tuning in, I will see y'all on Wednesday with Sham Shawan. Wada and Shalom.
Shalom.